One more week.
It comes right up in the top of them, doesn't it?
And this thing's still videotaping it.
I'm gonna say it window first.
Yes, sit by yourself, though. There you go.
I'll sit over here.
About 30 minutes.
We take the cat and go to the top.
You got a good. How's it gonna make you get up? I'm trying to get Lady up right now. Lady.
Oh, yeah. So how many photos did you get in class?
Well, is anybody here from Eric?
No, there ain't nobody that's married.
Eric was just within 4. Hello, Lady.
Hello.
So how many people do you have over there?
1, 2, 3, 4, possibly 5.
Can you take your webcam and turn it around so I could see you guys? So if you have a question, you can raise your hand.
No. Really, Mom?
Tilt your monitor screen.
Y'all are gonna have to move that way.
Can you guys hear me all right over there?
Unfortunately.
Ah, I don't know. All right, so
And
we're
now,
gonna start here in a couple minutes. I'm a little behind. These guys are here. Maybe wait, parking lot. Hey.
you just go to the
Man, you should have. I hate leaving motorcycle outside.
No, sit down there.
So we have 4 or 5 over at Lady. We have. Are you gonna? Is that what you're gonna end up with?
There's what's your books?
You're gonna have 9. We got to count all the.
I already had mine.
We need to kill them.
Yeah, let me fill this.
I know, I just not be woman. No, my share books. You're gonna have share books again.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and get started. Kind of what I plan on doing tonight is go over the different things on how, different ways that you guys could attend class. Everybody has a busy schedule. So there's several different ways that we can. As you see right now, and this won't always be webcam. I'll go. You guys make time. The classes are without a comment. So I need everybody's email address. I just
You need everybody's email address.
the last few days.
I think you have to.
You shouldn't need to. It probably has to be required. You have to email account. Okay, I probably need to send it to your email account. I think did you didn't do your email account?
No, I give you my Yahoo.
Okay, then you gave me your Gmail. Okay, if I have your Gmail account, then I can go ahead and set it up. But what this call, what we're doing over is people hang out. And so, kind of talk to the state about it and allow us to have satellite sites. Kind of the advantage to it is if you guys, for whatever reason, are going to be gone and you want to join the class anyway, you could jump on from your phone from anywhere. We also have the ability to do you can watch it on YouTube. The thing is, and how I want to do this class is that you need to make sure that you're staying caught up with the work. It's going to be a lot of work really fast. Big thing is I want you guys to come to class already done with the stuff we're going to go over that night. Because here's the thing, I want you guys to be able to talk about the subject, not necessarily to sit here and listen to me yammer on. I'm going to tell you, I'm not the greatest teacher to spoon feed you the material. If we could have some good conversation about the subject matter, it'll benefit you a lot more. I understand that, sometimes you're just not going to, you're not going to be prepared for class. I understand that. But if you guys could, for you guys that are wondering what's going on, I came over here and had the keys to my pickup in my pocket. Jacqueline, or my wife, drove the pickup to work today, and so now she's stuck in Cheyenne without a way home. And so that's what all the text messages are about. What's that? Her dad's actually going. I'm just going to pick him up, I think, which I don't know how that's going to work, but whatever. So I'm a little scatterbrained right now, and that's kind of. But big thing is that if you guys are keeping up with the test, so you guys are doing good on the tests, and you guys are keeping up with your work, I'm not real concerned about the attendance and what happens. In that sense, I understand everybody's busy, but I do know from history that if you stop coming to class, stop doing attendance, most likely you're going to fall behind. This is a 7-week course. It's fast, it's serious. We did it so we could get you guys here at SARE kind of out in the field. I know that talking to Chief Aarons, it's kind of iffy on what days you guys have them next week. So you guys are doing it to help out. You guys at Lady, I guess you're going to hang out for the ride. There's 2 different ways that we could test at the end. You guys could test National Registry or state. I highly recommend do National Registry just because you will be National Registry. I'll give you my story. I come from Kansas. After 2 years of having National Registry, I let it lapse as a paramedic and worked in Kansas another year and then moved to Oklahoma. Well, every state's a reciprocity state now. So since I'd let my national lapse, I had to retest National Registry. So if you guys, most of you guys are like, I'm never going to move anywhere. Well, I didn't think I was going to leave Wichita either. So, and here I am. So I had a retest for a paramedic after being out of school for 3 years, which I was pretty nerve-wracking. So I highly recommend go ahead and test National Registry. Then you can go anywhere and work anywhere with it. You just do every state, comes with reciprocity. So that means that since you have a national card, you pay your money, you get your state card from there. You have to have a state card to work in a state. I don't think there's any states out there that only require national card. So that being said, we need to go ahead and do a little paperwork. One thing is the initial roster. Lady, I can email you guys one. I just need the information. I just need your name. It says social security number. Oh, sorry. Yes, I can definitely move closer to the mic. Sorry. Name, social security number. I hate to ask for that. Your Oklahoma license and number. This is for our initial roster, so I guess unfortunately I am going to need it. The state's going to need it. Contact info, I'll email or phone number, and you guys get ready to get to that. I need your email number, and some of you already know I have an email list started. It makes it easier for me to stay in contact with you guys. Kim, can you guys hear me better now? I'm gonna go ahead and pass this around. Well, you guys are filling that out. I'm gonna email them more. Hey, Kim, I'm gonna email you an initial roster so you guys know what information you need. Or I guess I could put it up on the screen. Yeah, if you don't have an EMS license, I unfortunately have to have your social security number. But what I'll
Can I go ahead and put pastor on here? There you go.
sure thing. For you guys at Leedy, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen now so that you guys can see the form.
Not a lot of them have to worry about this.
Well, Sandy brings it out real quick.
Lady, can you guys still hear me?
Yes, we can still hear you. Not very.
Okay. I thought I shut down the call there for a second.
Well, you did something.
Can you see the initial roster here?
Nope.
I'm going to email this to you, Kim.
Okay.
I don't know if you could print it there or not, but if you could have the people that are going to be taking the course fill it out.
Okay.
And then you could just take a picture and send it to me. That'd be awesome. And then I'll get the initial roster sent in.
So we're done with that.
Well, I'm having them just put their names and social security numbers and emails on a piece of paper. That work?
Yeah, that'll work just fine, Kim.
Okay. Is that all you need? Is that information?
Yep, the information that's on there. And then, like I said, make sure that I have an email address. Anybody that doesn't have a Google account, you can set up a Google account with your current email address. You don't have to sign up for a new account. So
You can do it through your email. Just sign it.
We have to give them this.
yeah. If you guys need any help with that, let me know.
But
I will help you guys out.
It's me, he sent
Yes.
an email, I connected through the link
Yes.
that he sent me to the group.
Okay. I'll do
Yes.
that.
Be like all
Is
the-
there any questions before we kind of get started?
At the time, he didn't know if he could do it on
what?
YouTube, but apparently he can.
If you guys think of them, let me know. Payment, I think do I just need to invoice you? 9 position, not 9 seat.
He's cutting in and out.
Once. On the carpet at the hospital.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
So you lost your phone, Dan?
No.
Sorry, just double check. Drop mine in the lady.
Just let me know on that. Kim, do I just send you an invoice for,
Like, one application at a time.
Do what?
do you want me to send you an invoice for everybody over there, or do you just have a couple people?
Yeah, just send an invoice for everybody, and I have one more that's not here tonight. She's working night tonight,
Okay.
and we'll figure something out. We'll get you paid for it. And I think I'm gonna need three more books,
Okay.
right?
That's another thing. We're gonna really kind of slow start this class.
I've got 7 people here.
I might have one.
I actually am gonna have 7,
Okay.
6 here,
Okay. So you'll need 3 more books.
or 2 more books, 3 more books.
I'll call you tomorrow to make sure, Kim, before I.
2, 2.
2 more? Okay. Okay. So don't worry about the book issue. Have you guys ordered your book? Okay. So you guys have books in the way. I will, once I have everybody's email address, I'll resend out the PowerPoint slide that we go over tonight so that you guys have something to go over. But we'll kind of try to start slow. To me, it's not really that big of a deal. I've kind of followed the state's outline. I don't think we'll spend as much time in class as is on the syllabus on each subject. But we'll just have to, we'll see. Guys, whatever we need to do to help you guys out. As long as you guys are working with me, I'll work with you guys, okay? And same with Lady. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up the lesson, the chapter 1 slides, and we'll just go ahead and kind of start talking about this beginning stuff, okay? Uh-huh. So I wanted them to come so we could talk about this. Hey, if they could come Monday, Wednesday, if they come Monday, or however it is, it's not.
He comes Thursday last week when I talked to him. And I was like, no, redreaming on the fifth Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
I wish you'd reach out to them because, yeah, let them know that it's the YouTube. As long as they can kind of do whatever they want now. Testing wise, we'll try to work around what we.
Whatever the deadline is, just show you the test.
Exactly.
I mean, if you're that good, you're gonna sit at the house and watch this on TV or on the computer, then do it.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with that.
Kevin was, that was whenever you contacted me, Kevin had already contacted me for a class, and that's kind of, the catalyst that made me.
They actually log in and stay there, log in there and sit over there and watch it as much as they can
Yeah.
from there. I mean, it's not hard.
Okay, so I'm gonna.
I just told him I said that you asked for him to contact you.
Okay.
We're the only ones taking it? Taking the class?
Saturday.
That's-
Lady.
Oh, from Lee, yes.
Who's the other one?
Kayla Whittington.
I asked her what you want to say. It was like,
Chancellor took it, hadn't been to the shop.
Oh, I was at the ground trying to convince him to come down. All you gotta do, so you can do all the YouTube.
Are you getting her stuff?
There's one Dewey County deputy too that
I
wants to
texted her.
do it. And I'm like, dude, I can get you in. You can do it over YouTube. And it's local.
Well, and apparently he had,
Walker's gonna be hands-on stuff in this. I'm sure there's
He's-
some.
he also
Ah, crap. Sorry about that, guys. So right now I'm just talking about the roles and responsibilities of an EMR. I'm going to try to share my screen again. I think that's where I keep dropping you guys. So let me know if I drop you again. Can you guys see the slides?
yes.
Okay, cool.
So, yes.
Okay, so anyway, your basic rules is just basically stabilizing a patient before an ambulance arrives. That'll really help you guys out. Now, Leedy, I know that Tim is looking for some help over there, so you guys' role will be centered around driving an ambulance for an EMT. Hopefully, some of you decide to go on and do an EMT basic course and ride in the back of the ambulance. It's not something that everybody wants to do. I don't.
Right.
Police officer. Oh, you are. You're gonna go on. So cool. Should never judge it. Or yeah. Anyway, let's kind of the roles and responsibilities of an EMR. Any questions over EMR? Is it kind of what you guys expected?
You have to drive Siemens.
Anyway, so that's it. Yeah, basically you are your glorified Band-Aid person. But the thing is guys, there's a good chance out here. You guys have I-40 through. Edie, I know that you guys run some pretty horrific accidents in rural. And so even though that your guys' job is glorified Band-Aid person, there's still a really good chance that you guys are going to run or be involved in some really bad accidents. So it's important that you know how to properly stabilize somebody to your level. So anyway, we'll go ahead and get started with the chapter 1 PowerPoint slides. We might go ahead and just try to get through chapter 1, chapter 2, maybe 3 and 4, so we can see what we need to do tomorrow as far as making this work without the book. So the topics are the EMS system, classic components of an EMS system, emergency medical responder practice, and quality improvement. I always try to convince people to do an EMT over an EMR course. You guys are going to get a ton of information dropped on you. Basically, you're going to get probably not quite as much, but a lot of what you would get in an EMT class, you guys are just going to get it in a lot shorter period of time. So anyway, EMR, or emergency medical responder, formerly known as a first responder, is a vital part of EMS. Chief Aarons knows that we talked about it several times, that a lot of your fire departments are going to EMR with what's called an EMR agency, opens your fire department to grants. It also makes you kind of it gives you a stronger position in the community, because now not only are you spraying water on fires, but you're providing that first line medical care. So whenever you're talking budgets and things like that, I don't know what Sarah's situation is, but sometimes it gives you some leverage. So, and makes a difference in various backgrounds. I know in here, I don't know what all I don't know what all you guys do personally as your day job. I see that you have some fire retardant FRC clothing on, so you must work in the oil field. Electrician. I know that we have a police officer, we have a fire chief, that you also do military stuff, right? And so that various backgrounds is a very true thing. And it's very true for EMS. You'll find you guys have been around I guess you guys have had Signer for a long time. So, but once you kind of branch out, start to see that everybody kind of comes from different backgrounds, which is cool. Yeah.
Well, now that we went to 522, we get Eric and Elk City and consider time when the ambulance is down, because with our hospital being currently closed,
Yeah.
that has a lot to do with it.
How's that affected you guys?
That's bad.
I bet. No longer can the ambulance just take the.
Well, the ambulance is here in town, but when they take them to Elk,
Yeah.
Elk City automatically sends the ambulance to the PA truck stop.
Oh, okay.
on 6. So that way we've got somebody that responds to 911 calls.
So, I guess they're just giving you some environment. The environment standby at a county fair dispatch. This looks to me like this is I don't know. I didn't understand that slide. What the heck's going on here? You guys understand these slides? I don't. I'm gonna go see if. Let me see here. You know what the problem is with what you just said? I'm not. No. Freaking my Pearson count doesn't. I don't have access to it yet, so they emailed them to me. So this has been a mess. I told Chief Aarons. I said this is first class I've felt so unprepared for. Let me see here. Share it with me.
It'll be a short night after all.
It's not going to be a short night. I'm going to make it last.
We're gonna struggle. We're gonna make it.
We're doing this. No, I thought I had it downloaded, and as a come on now. It should be here. There it is. See, I don't know why they're giving us a case study to start with here. That's what I'm a little confused about. Oh well, we'll let through it. So here's the case study. The environment, the standby at a county fair. Dispatch called for a man down near grandstand. So something that, and the EMS system. I think we're just gonna, they want you to think about that as we talk about it. So. Then here's 911. You have the public safety answering point, PSAP. Now, do you guys have one of those here? I know that we have dispatch, but do you guys have like EMDs and stuff in there? Or Beacon County? Emergency medical dispatcher?
No.
Well, for not for countywide, no.
Okay.
No, it works in one of those.
No. The dispatcher here, the fire, EMS, and police.
Gotcha.
Force air.
Yeah.
And their 911 dispatcher. That's
Gotcha.
part of the county. But they also dispatch the ambulance to Eric Fire Department, Texas Fire Department, Yellowknife Fire Department. They do, one dispatcher dispatches for 4 different handlers.
So you,
Yeah, 5 different agencies.
so your guys' dispatch and Roger Mills dispatch and Leedy, when they go through Roger Mills or Dewey County, they would love to have something like this. You have an EMD guy dedicated to it. So you have a public safety answering point, which basically is your dispatch. Emergency medical dispatch, which is EMD. They're awesome to have if you can afford them. I know that Roger Mills sent one of theirs to an EMD course, but she really doesn't have the equipment to do it. Enhanced 911, I believe we're finally getting to Enhanced 911. That gives us the addresses whenever the phone call is made. It's pretty new technology. I know for Roger Mills, I know that they just got it, the Enhanced 911. So the EMS system level of training, you have EMRs, which that's what you guys are here to do as an EMR class. EMT. Not a whole lot different than an EMR. There's a few differences, and one of the biggest ones is they're able to transport. As a matter of fact, if you guys align with an EMS agency and become an EMR agency, you'll have to go under their protocols. Most all the protocols, if they adopted the state protocols, which most services around here do, you're going to find that most of the things will say EMR, EMT. And so there's very few treatments that the EMT is able to do that the EMR isn't able to do. I believe that we're going to be looking at like albuterol treatments and things like that EMT basics just recently have been able to do, whereas the EMRs, you guys aren't really going to be able to do that. Advanced EMT, obviously that's the next level from EMT basic or EMT, or used to be called EMT basic. Advanced EMT, if you guys ever heard intermediate, that term EMT intermediate being used, that's what the advanced EMT is now. And they're able to start IVs depending on the state. So Oklahoma has them go through an intubation station. So our advanced EMTs in Oklahoma can still intubate. So they're a little bit more advanced. They start the IVs, they're able to intubate. In Kansas, we had like IDs, which they're able to use a monitor to defibrillate versus just an AED. So they had a little bit more training. And then paramedic, which that reminds me, I didn't tell you guys about myself at all, did I? So I'll do that after I tell you what a paramedic does. Paramedic, basically it's the highest level that whenever you're talking about in the field. Obviously a physician could come on scene and take over that scene, but a physician's the only one that can come onto a scene and take a scene from you. You'll have a lot of nurse pracs and PAs that'll try to push you around, but they have no business doing that. That's really not a great idea for them. As a matter of fact, whenever we call into a hospital, we have to get orders from a physician. It's something I just learned recently. I always thought I could take orders from them, but I can't. So let me introduce myself. My name is Rob Stevens. I'm currently the EMS director over at Roger Mills County EMS. You guys heard me talk about Wichita. The beginning of my career, I became a paramedic in 2001. I went to work at Topeka for AMR, so service that was ran thin. So I got a lot of experience that first year. Then I went to Wichita, which was a lot better ran service. Still a large service, large call volume service. Worked there for 2 years. Married Jack. I don't know if any of you guys know Jack. You know Brandon. I guess he's on your department. I married his sister. She drugged me to Oklahoma, kicking and screaming. I've done my stint with Signer, so I know what those guys are going through. Then I went and worked for the tribe for a transfer service and kind of got my eyes open to what it was like to be in the back of an ambulance with somebody for long periods of time. Shortly after, a couple years after that, I started flying for Eagle Med out of Oklahoma City. So I've done both fixed wing and helicopter. Left Eagle Med whenever we bought the pharmacy up here, took the director position at Roger Mills County EMS. 6 months later, my replacement died in a helicopter crash. So I dodged a bullet there. And then about a year after I started working at Roger Mills as a director, I started flying with Air Evac here out of Elk City. So I have lots of experience as a paramedic. What does that mean? It means you shouldn't listen to me. Please, in this class, read the book, challenge me. If I tell you guys something that's wrong, because the last time I've done an official course, besides teach, I've done some course at Leedy, but the last time I've been a student was my critical care, whenever I did critical care in, I want to say, I don't even remember, that was like 2008 or 9, somewhere around there when I did a critical care class. But like I said, I finished up my paramedic in 2001. So as you'll see or learn, EMS is always changing. So I might tell you guys something that has changed, and that's why I want you guys to be on top of it, so you guys could correct me. Be ready to do that, okay? I will not be offended. I'm not that guy that's going to be offended. I'll learn from you guys. We used to do a maneuver called the Trindle. We put people in the Trendelenburg or shot position. Basically, put their feet up and their head down. And I think I was teaching a Leedy course, and one of the Leedy students told me, well, the book says not to do that. Thank goodness they read that. And then sure enough, the Trendelenburg position had fallen out of favor. Now, I'm still not sure what the stance is, because every textbook, depending on the publisher, either has it in there or doesn't. And so EMS hasn't come to a consensus on it. The good thing about EMS, from whenever I went through it to when you guys are doing it, was we're going to evidence-based medicine. So they're questioning every aspect of EMS. Are spine boards necessary? And that's kind of what we're going through right now in EMS is, do we need to be using spine boards as much? So told you guys my experience, but I also, like I said, I want you guys to question me if I tell you something that maybe has changed, okay? So I'm ready to do that. Anyway, so paramedic, the highest level, most dangerous. We're the ones that are going to kill the most people. So, classic components of an EMS system. Components of an EMS system, you have types. There's a tiered response. So basically, what a tiered response is you have an EMD, emergency medical dispatcher, takes a call. They determine that it needs an EMR to go out. EMR then requests either BLS service or an BLS ambulance or an ALS ambulance. And then from there it goes to the hospital or emergency department. So your EMR is important in determining what level is needed. You guys could actually, I'm not 100% familiar with Beckham County's thing, but let's say that you're able to tell them that it's, hey, this is a BLS call. Maybe they could send an ambulance with a BLS and free that paramedic up to go to another call if need be.
What we talked about on that situation is actually 2 first responders being on scene. They actually show up with the ALS automatically. And then if the ALS is not needed, where it turns into a BLS, the paramedic will actually go with the other first responder back to the ambulance barn and have these sitting there as second call.
Gotcha.
While first call takes the patient to the hospital.
Yeah. So you guys are working on some
Right.
sort of tiered response for your area, and guys, we're rural EMS. It takes some ingenuity. Can't even say that word, ingenuity, to make it all work and make it flow. We get it done, but sometimes it's kind of pucker factor getting it done. So I guess. Good. My wife's headed home, so she got a ride. So, especially care centers, you have trauma centers, cardiovascular centers, pediatric centers, burn centers, and stroke centers. Now, Oklahoma is finally kind of trying to establish its different centers. I know that Elk City at one time was wanting to become a stroke center. Kim, correct me if I'm wrong there. And so
I don't think that went through all the way.
Yeah, I knew that it stopped, but at one time they're looking at doing that, right? They wanted to
Yes.
do stroke center.
Yes.
Burn center in Oklahoma for us. Now, when we're talking Tulsa, I don't know Tulsa's capabilities, but our burn center is Baptist. So you get a patient that has really bad burns, and this might be kind of interesting for you guys because you guys will come across with it. You dealt with a burned up person that's still alive? Not the crispy critters, but still breathe. They'll end up in Baptist, and this is, maybe kind of think about that for your guys too. If one of your guys get burnt, that's where they'll probably end up as Baptist. But trauma center, OU obviously is our level 1 trauma center. And one thing I don't like about Oklahoma is they have what they call a revolving level 2. So each day that level 2 changes. Not really important for this class, but that's kind of what these different centers are. So cardiovascular centers, we have several different ones. Baptist has a heart hospital. Mercy has a heart hospital. The heart hospital has a heart hospital. It's all whoever does the best marketing that month where most of the patients are going to go. So in all reality, all these guys are pretty good. You always hear the good stories at one and the bad stories at one, and all of them have good stories and bad stories associated with them. So anyway, these are specialty centers. Most of these are located outside of our direct area of care. What we have is out here, even Elk City, which is kind of sad because I think Elk City is a great catchment area. I wish they could find their niche and really bring a lot of patients in. But what we have here is a stabilize and ship them to these specialty resource centers that are mostly located in the Oklahoma City area. 10 classic EMS system components, regulation and policy. You have regulation and policy at a local level, sometimes at a regional level, and then at a state level. So Chief Ahrens, he's going to work with somebody on developing your policies and procedures or your protocols on how you guys operate. You guys will also have to work under what the state laws are. You guys can make it, more strict than what the state is, but you'll have to be kind of aware of the laws that govern you. Resource management, that's a kind of important thing for smaller departments. It's one thing that I'm going through right now with supplies. But resource management, we're talking about whenever your ambulance goes out, you guys already have in place resource management where another ambulance is sent over to station. But you can also use resource management on the fact that you can cut your cost if you run your resources or supplies right. We don't overlap resources, and that's kind of what the 522s are designed to do. Kind of disperse those resources as they see fit. I don't know much about how Elk City's running there, or not Elk City, but Beckham's running there. So
Right now, for instance, if Eric goes to Elk City on transport, Sayer goes out, it's supposed to go halfway, Elk City's supposed to come halfway.
So you guys are on.
That way you got an ambulance that can run to Eric for a second call.
Yep.
And you got an ambulance that can come cover Sayer.
You guys are almost doing what they call system status management. So basically, you guys are trying to put ambulances closest to call. So you're dividing up your territory as an ambulance goes out. So
By having the EMR will help on that because there's always lag time in between ambulance to ambulance because average is 19 minutes from Elk City to Sayer.
Yeah, gotcha.
19 minutes, a lot of things can go wrong.
Yeah, definitely. And with you guys and Lee both, it's not always about that box that runs down the street. Sometimes it's about just getting somebody there, maybe to get the AED on and get that person shocked, and don't need an ambulance to do that. EMR, once you guys get your protocols, you guys are the first ones on scene, the first ones to start treatment. You guys can save lives. So anyway, human resources and training. Obviously, you guys are going through some training right now, but your training will continue. I kind of excited that you decided that you're probably going to want to go on with basic. I hope everybody goes on with basic, but that's not a realistic expectation. But you will continue every 2 years. I was telling Chief Ahrens that you guys will be required to do 12 hours of continuing education as an EMR. It's really not all that much, and you guys could get it taken care of in your monthly meetings. Whether you do it, just pick a couple monthly meetings to take care of it, or kind of what we talked about, just do a quick refresher.
3-day class.
Yeah, 3-day class. And I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. If I have to talk about a lot of this stuff for 12 hours or their required amount of time, you guys are going to be asleep. So an actual 12 hours would be a stretch of the imagination. Now, what we could do is we could talk about the stuff they want us to talk about, but then we could do things that you guys feel like, you need work on, or you want to know more about. And we can do whatever you guys need to do. I help Lady out with their training, and so you guys will definitely get your 12 hours in the monthly trainings. So it's not hard to keep 12 hours. You guys get that pretty quick. Transportation, obviously, the ambulances do that. Facilities, you have your hospitals, your EMS stations, and then communications. Right? Sometimes that's a big deal. What kind of radios do you guys use?
ICOM, Kenwood, and Merle.
I'm not loving. I use Vertex. I'm not loving the Vertex. I'm not loving the ICOM, but we had the little bitty compact ICOM. I'm really looking at maybe going with Kenwood. Do you guys like Kenwood?
And that radio up there is almost 10 years old.
Yeah, gotcha. Still work good?
Still work fine, and it's got over 600 channels.
Nice. So communications, you have different ways of communicating out here. Cell phone has become a big way of communicating. Radios I don't think radios are going anywhere, even with cell phones in place. It's just easy, push the button and talk to people. And your receiving facilities typically have a radio, but they'll also answer the phone. So anyway, public information and education. This is something where fire departments just blow EMS away. You guys are always going and doing cool little programs for kids, talking to people, doing PR stuff. I think it's something that EMS could take a lesson by looking at watching fire departments. It's something that EMS, we like to hide out and sit in our recliners until we're needed. We're kind of reclusive. We like dark spaces. And I think we could do a lot better. Go out, talk to the Boy Scouts, talk to the schools, talk to the kids, talk to people and when to call 911. I'm sure you guys have seen, seriously, a stub toe, you're calling 911 for a stub toe, and there's a better time of saying that than when they called 911 for a stub toe, even though I'm probably guilty of making some snide remarks. But trauma systems, Oklahoma, we currently have in place through our RTAB, Regional Trauma Advisory Board, where we're working on the trauma system in Oklahoma. I think they're trying to reinvent the wheel. There's some really good trauma systems they could have taken a look at and just started a lot higher than they are. But and then evaluation, we go back and we look what we do. This could be through things such as QA, QI. So whenever you run a call, Chief Aaron, you might want to have in place a QI procedure where you go through, or you have a little committee that goes through and reads a chart or reads however you guys do your report. And, you say, hey, maybe we could have, maybe we should have taken a blood pressure a little sooner. Or so. As a first responder, you guys, there's not a whole lot that, you're going to do wrong. Now as a paramedic, I start getting into why did you give this medication for this, or why didn't we look at doing this for that patient? But you always want to evaluate and see if you can have handled the call better, could have gone smoother. I know EMS wise, we're really good about getting in the ambulance and just going, hey, I felt like that call ran like shit. What do you think? And we could have done this better. And we talk about it. And it's one of the ways that we cope with it. Sometimes it ran. It was a rough call. It ran bad. There's nothing else we could have done. It's just it is what it is. Sometimes EMS is adapt and overcome. You just do what you do to get through and try to learn from any mistakes that are made. So we're all human, and I hope that you guys could let some of the paramedics and EMS people, especially long-term people, we can be pricks sometimes. Give you guys sideways look. And don't let them do that. Don't let us do that to the EMR guys. You guys are first line. You guys are helping out. I try to remember that I used to be the guy that had the nice uniform, and when I worked in Wichita, and I kind of looked down on the volunteer services that came in wearing blue jeans and boots, and and it's like, oh, look at these guys. You know what? Now I work in rural EMS, and I completely understand it now. So don't let other people do that to you guys. You guys are important. Individual states. Like I was trying to tell you guys earlier, each state has their own set of rules. That's where National Registry comes in, helps you move from state to state. But if you do move, you'll have to become familiar with a new set of rules and regulations. I did when I came from Kansas. Most EMS services are getting to where they're pretty close. We kind of live by the same code in every state. You'll just see a few different things. So govern the EMS system and then provide leadership. I think you guys are kind of here in this area, you guys are kind of leading the way. Please don't tell me to stop. No. You guys are doing something that a lot of fire departments are probably looking at doing. By the way, I'm on Berlin Fire Department too. So, yeah. Hey, come on now.
You guys come help us and we go up in there just to get, because they got County real estate in their department in their area, and and that area used to belong to us at one time. And when Berlin actually became a fire department, they said you got to give them 100 square miles. So that's what they did, is they gave them 100 square miles.
It's a lot of area.
And Sayre covers roughly about 157 square miles.
Yeah.
And 10 towns.
They got you.
That's including, if you broke it down, our response area is 157 square miles. And it's not much.
No, it's not.
It don't sound like a lot, but it is.
Not when the EMS wise. I cover 1,100 square miles, but entire Roger Mills County. But a little different whenever you're spraying water on that stuff that's burning things up. So. All right. So human resources and training. We kind of talked about this. You guys are kind of the human resource side of it. You guys don't have to worry about much. I think probably Chief Aarons or somebody that he has helping him manage that. Basically, fill out the application, don't get in trouble, don't get a DUI. Probably, so he kind of monitors those things. So. Transportation facilities and communications, mode of transportation. Obviously, we have ambulances and helicopters and transportation to appropriate facility. So that's one thing that when I kind of talked about the RTAB, that Oklahoma is really trying to do is transportation to an appropriate facility. So you have somebody that's a multi-system trauma that needs surgery, and maybe you have ALS that's able to stabilize the airway. Do they need to go to Up City, or do we need to fly them? And it's something that we're always fighting with. Now let's say that weather's moved in. Now what, does our decision change? And yeah, it does. Something, weather moves in, you know what, this hospital is better than nothing. Kim, I'm not putting down Up City at all. Just note you guys don't have surgeon on all the time. It's one of those things that you have to do what's best for the patient. And so if weather's moved in, they can't fly, it's not 45. We're looking at about 2 hours. Yeah, hour and a half, 2 hours to a facility. Is that going to be beneficial to the patient? No. You want to, at least they could do blood if they need to here. Sometimes, and my understanding is they're getting a little better at having a surgeon on at Elk City, and that'd be awesome if they did, because that would help out a lot. So Western Oklahoma is ever evolving and ever changing, as you guys have seen with the introductions of 522. Whether Signer's going to be here or not, being iffy, your guys' hospital closing down. So it's always changing. So what happens is always going to change, and you guys just have to roll with the punches. So public information education, I kind of already talked to you guys about this, but EMS needs to get a lot better at it. It says EMS participation, prevention. So I know that whenever you start talking about prevention, you start talking about the ability for people to come and get a blood pressure, make sure that, before we get called for that stroke, they're not feeling quite right. So you have that prevention, you have the ability for them to come get a blood pressure. I know a lot of larger fire departments. Whenever I worked at Wichita, all their fire departments, some citizen could just walk in and we would check their blood pressure. Or if we weren't stationed with them, they would check the blood pressure. And I'll tell you what, it really helped out a lot because I'd say 9 out of 10 times that person's not coming to get their blood pressure checked because they want their blood pressure checked. They're coming to get their blood pressure checked because something's going on with them, and they want you to look at them. And so that prevents that, that allows us to get involved before maybe they stroke out or something like that. So EMS access, and we kind of talked about that, through 911, and different, the 522 boards, in different ways that people obtain EMS access. So medical oversight, you guys will, as an EMR, and if you become an EMR agency, you will align with an EMS service, and they will have a medical director. Basically, how we operate is we operate under that medical director's license. So he really, some EMS services have a very hands-off EMS director. Dr. Eubanks has been really good for us. He'll answer any of my questions. He'll talk to me about whatever I want to talk to him about. But for the most part, he lets me run the EMS service. Some EMS service, like I know Elk City's EMS director, he's pretty hands-on. He's out there in the field sometimes with them. So he has a very tight oversight on his service. Leedy, I'm pretty sure that, Kim, you work with your medical director, and it's I think you kind of have the same situation I do. They rely on the director. So here you have we're talking about the trauma systems, specialized care, and transportation. Basically, we want to get the right person to the right place in the right time. And a lot of factors go into that. Clear, sunny day, in bad condition, you're probably going to put them on a helicopter, right? Same situation, but rain, sleet, snow, or whatever, they're probably going to go to Elk City. So at least get them stabilized for the trip to Oklahoma City or Amarillo. So what's wrong with that guy?
His team lost.
His team lost. He's so sad. So evaluation, quality improvement. One thing that's important, if you guys do develop a CQI or quality improvement, and Kim or they're at Leedy, one of the important things is not to make it punitive. It's a learning thing. Now, if you do find things through the QI process that are true violations in protocol, that does need to be addressed. But for the most part, this should be kind of a learning thing. These QI programs need to be a learning tool. So emergency medical responder practice. State legislation, like I said, it's always changing. It's always changing what you guys are allowed to do. Just recently, the protocols changed from a real tight basic protocol to a more liberal basic protocol that allows basics to do. There's about 5 drugs that basics could administer now. At one time, basics couldn't get any medications on an ambulance. So state EMS agencies, you guys are governed by the Oklahoma State Department of Health. They have the EMS division. They're the ones that will oversee you. Regional or local agencies. And also, to my knowledge, there's not a true state ambulance. So regional or local agencies, there are starting to pop up regional EMS services and regional medical directors. So
is there a 5-county? Like what we've got out here, we've got Ellis, Rogan Hills, Beckman, Washita, Custer. Is there a regional director for us out here in Southwest?
No, right now, you guys, if you guys align with Elk, it will be Dr. I cannot think of his name. We all have different. Yeah. Yep. Each service right now has their own. Now, there has been talk, and this is kind of outside this class, but since you asked, there has been talk about developing what they call regional medical directors, because you have medical directors that they have nothing to do with the EMS service except for their name is as the medical director. And so you really do want a medical director to be involved with your service, because they could provide some good oversight. And so there is talk about going to regional medical directors, and that person actually be responsible for that region.
Well, my question, the reason why I said that was because, we got more oil industry out here, slowing down. But if you have God forbid, a catastrophe out here or something to where, like the Merle building in Oklahoma City, you got all the response there. Something out here. Okay.
Let's just say a big F5 tornado just rolls through Sayre and into Roger Mills County. Kind of like the one that went through Edmond. So you have multiple agencies. How that would work is you have a multi-agency response. Each agency is still going to work under their specific protocols, but we all operate under the state's guidelines on the trauma transport and triage guidelines. And so we're all going to come together, and then you start getting NIMS involved. So I'm going to report, like if it hits here first, let's say it doesn't hit my county, there's going to be somebody that establishes an incident command, and I'm going to talk to them. Now, treatment-wise is a little bit different game. I'm going to treat with my protocols, but I'm still, we're still reporting to, let's say that it's set up at Elk. I'm still going to report to Elk to help
I
out.
see what was it? 6 years ago, we had that big 40-car pile.
Yeah, we did.
Here
Yep.
on the interstate.
And we came over to that. That was a, what? I just did a TIMS course, and they talked about that wreck in that TIMS course. So that's a pretty big deal. That 40-car pilot, 1 mile on this side of the Oklahoma line, and
We sent 8 from here.
I think I sent 3 ambulances.
We were doing a firefighter 1 during that time.
Yeah.
Whenever that happened.
So yeah, what it ends up being is a multi-agency response. We're terrible at it. I'll just tell you that we're terrible at setting up an incident command. We all just kind of come in, but we're getting better. More people are learning about the NIM system and reporting to that incident commander and getting that, and we're getting better at it. So roles and responsibilities of emergency medical responder, equipment readiness. If you guys go, if you don't ever check your equipment, don't ever, check your first aid bag, all of a sudden you get on scene and somebody took all your 4x4s and Kerlex out of your bag because they twisted their ankle or got a cut on their ankle or something, and then you get on the scene and need it. Who's that on? Well, it's kind of on you because you didn't check your bag. But it's your job to maintain equipment readiness. Now, I'm going to just tell you guys this. There's going to be that day that you walk in the door. Now, you guys are volunteers, so it's a little different. But there's going to be that day you walk in the door and you didn't get to check out anything and you're jumping on a truck. Adapt and overcome those things you're missing. But safety. Guys, safety is very important. Actually, safety should have been listed first. Because it's important that you guys remain safe. It's important that you do everything you do to go home at night. One of the things that I have to get onto my people quite often is they're going into assaults and gunshot wounds without the sheriff's department clearing the scene. It's just crazy. Do not become a victim yourself. Now, you're in a different position. You're the guy that has to clear the scene, so. If need be and you got the scene secure, you could go ahead and start your EMR stuff. So, scene evaluation, size up. A lot of your things will tell you as you're pulling up. I'll tell you this. I start my scene evaluation whenever that radio call comes out because I want nature call. And I continue to listen to the radio and the reports that come in from the firefighters and first responders because what's going to happen is you're going to get on scene and you're going to tell me that you have 4 critical patients. Now it just changes what I want come to that scene. No longer do I want to come by myself. I want to go ahead and get as many aircraft en route as I can to that scene because you just told me you have 4 critical patients. So always be listening to what's going on. Scene evaluation size that does start whenever you you're pulling up on scene. You want to make sure that scene is safe. Make sure tell how many vehicles are involved, how many possible patients you have. It's an ongoing process, and we'll get more into it as this class goes on. I think there's actually a whole section on it. So, gaining access. You guys have probably seen in your time in the fire department. It's not always the easiest thing to gain access to a patient, right? So sometimes they're trapped. You can't gain access. You guys got jobs and stuff over here, right? So you guys are there cutting open a vehicle and stuff to gain access to the patient. And then patient assessment. That's whenever you start the job as the EMR, start seeing what's wrong with the patient and the injuries that you could find, or even illnesses. So. Roles and responsibilities of emergency responder, patient care. Obviously, it's not in the back of an ambulance like this picture shows here. And I did kind of flip through these slides and notice this one. I was like, wait a minute. They have this patient in the back of an ambulance in these EMR slides. Not saying that you can't get in an ambulance and work with the EMTs there. I don't like running a clown car. In most cases, one of you guys jumping in with me is all I need. Once we start getting more than that, it starts getting real crowded in the back of an ambulance. But you know what? Sometimes in a code blue situation, I need more than just one other guy. And so, please don't get offended if I'm like, "Not cool. I got it, guys. Thanks a lot. Thanks for the information," and then we go. Or your other EMS services. It's nothing against you guys. Just there's not a whole lot for you to do besides twiddle your thumbs. So, emotional support, guys. You'll notice that this is probably one of the biggest things that we do. You'll get on scene. You'll start talking to them, and sometimes you just see the relief come over their face because finally somebody's there to help them. Or sometimes they just broke, the 15-year-old girl hyperventilating just broke up with her boyfriend. Your emotional support, talk to her, get her mind off of it, and take care of it. So continuity of care. So you guys are the beginning step. You guys are the first ones to talk to this patient. I just did a huge disservice if I didn't listen to what you had to say and I just brush you to the side and I have to do all that over again. I want to continue what you guys started. You guys give me the information, great. I no longer have to go and look for her name. I don't have to get her date of birth. I don't have to get her meds, her allergies, and her nature of illness and things like that. Now, don't be offended if I say, so you're having right hip pain. Is there any other pain or discomfort? That I go ahead and continue an evaluation. It's just something I have to do. But I am continuing what you guys started, and your guys' information is a great help. It's something that EMS, we're at one time, and whenever I first started this, basically we walk in, we give the hospital our story, they'd say, great, and they'd start over from step one. The relationship has gotten so much better, I've noticed over the years, that they actually want to hear what we have to say. Yes, they're still going to do their evaluation and stuff, but they listen to the things we had to say, and then they could build on that. So that's what continuity of care is. Medical legal standards of care. You guys are working over this. You guys are going to know what patients can refuse service by EMS. I believe Oklahoma, they have to be at the age of 18. Under 16, you have to, or under 18, it has to have the parental consent. Or legal guardian. So it makes it kind of hard whenever you run that bus accident and there's a bus driver. Do you know how that works? Does the bus driver aid the legal guardian, or does it? To my understanding, I still have to contact either a parent, I have to have contact with a parent or legal guardian. So medical legal standards of care, you guys will learn. We won't go over it a whole lot in this class because understand this is a national level class. Okay. I thought you look like you're getting ready to say something. So, public health and then community relations. Once again, I think EMS can get a lot better. Fire departments typically, you guys go out and do PRs for your community. Go out and do the parades. Go try to stand by. I heard you guys talking about the races, and you guys take the fire trucks down to that. So, it's something EMS can learn from. I think probably the races. Do they have to have an ambulance standby for insurance problems? Yeah. So. Do those guys hide out in their truck, or do they actually get out and
Some of them will, some of them won't.
Yeah.
Some of them will get out and fall. Where they're at the finish line, so.
I gotcha. Yeah, I've actually worked Heartland Park there in Topeka, where they did the big professional drag cars. Man, wow.
Now after the big deal that happened down to the football field, we gotta have an ambulance football field for both junior high and high school.
What happened?
games.
What happened?
We had an ambulance down there.
Uh-huh.
They got called out on the guy that was stroking.
Oh, okay.
15 seconds later, they kicked off. The two kids went head to head. One of them broke his back, one broke his rib, broke his lung.
What?
And we had to wait for 19 minutes before we got another ambulance there.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's some hard hit.
That's junior high. Junior high. That's
What?
junior high. But they went head to head, helmet to helmet.
Oh, yeah, like the Ram style.
Yeah.
Yeah, can't do that. Head up. So case study, response, a 75-year-old man down, pale, sweaty, and looks very sick. Does not remember what happened. Wife states that he passed out while getting up from picnic table, breathing deeply, weak and fast. See if there. So deputy on scene, also an EMR. Hey, look, you're not the only one. You're actually in the case study. Deputy on scene, also an EMR. So provides oxygen. Patient has a heart problems and high blood pressure, denies pain, feels weak. While assessing additional vital signs, the ambulance arrives. Let's talk about the call. I know that we really haven't got into treatments and different things, but let's start thinking about this. What are some important things that you guys could get from this guy to help the ambulance crew out? Yeah, past history, and they talked about that a little bit. So name, any
Name, date of birth.
Yeah.
Name, date of birth, how long it's been going on.
Medication.
Any medications he's on, his age, his possible weight.
yeah, awesome.
Anything medical that he could possibly need medically wise. Has he had these symptoms before?
Yeah, has he had this before? Yeah. So I don't know if you guys over at League hear that, and you guys feel free to chime in on any of these questions. But what they're saying here over here at Sayre was name, age, date of birth, allergies, medications, all these great things. Basically, some of them about everything you guys talked about in a sample in OPQRST history, which you guys will learn about. I've been trying to get my people to use it more, but basically it's signs, symptoms, allergies, medications, past medical history, last oral intake, and events leading up to this would be a sample history. It'd be awesome if you guys had a sample of OPQRST history for it. OPQRST history is onset, provocation, quality, radiation, severity, and time. And so it gives us a really nice picture of what's going on with this patient. This patient, I'm thinking a couple things. One, does he have a history of heart disease? And so is this cardiac related? The other side is, does he have a history of diabetes? Is this diabetes? I mean, weakness could also be stroke. So we could have all kinds of things going on, but do you guys need to diagnose that? Do I as a paramedic need to diagnose that?
No.
Nope.
The more information you get, though, the better off it'll be, because
Yeah.
that's a better quality of care of treatment you can give.
The more accurate I could treat this thing. So continuity of care, you guys are able to give me a lot of that information. That speeds up my game. I'm able to start treating this guy a lot faster, right? So.
Have you had when you say oral care, they're asking basically can you put an aspirin under his tongue?
Yeah.
Take nitro, did he take something like that because it does have heart issue?
Yep. Has he done any treatments to take care of this? So, did he take his insulin and not eat? That's you'll see that. Well, my doctor said I have to take this much insulin every day. Okay, have you changed your diet? Well, I didn't eat breakfast this morning. I usually eat breakfast. And check blood sugar. So yeah, your guys' information can help out a lot. So quality improvement, ensure high quality, looks at all aspects of an agency and QI committees. I highly recommend you guys get one or two guys that what you do is sit down and look at the charts as you run. You guys probably, I don't know how many medical calls you guys will respond on. I shouldn't assume things. I've been proven wrong like 10 times tonight. But I look at 100%, or I have somebody look at 100% of our calls because we only run 250 calls a year. We could do that. You start running 1,000 calls, 2,000 calls, it's no longer feasible. So then you want to develop your procedure. You know, we want to look at all major MVCs, all heart attacks, and 10% of the rest of the calls. You know, however you guys decide to do it, you want to have a QI committee that kind of goes through and just reviews these charts. Make sure that you guys, you know, the guys are doing what they're supposed to do. Errors in EMS prevention. Double check facts or decisions. There's been a lot of charts where I've questioned, hey, did you really do this or did you not do this? Oh no, we did that. Okay, and so they, you know, so we double check the facts, and then or decisions. You know, they make the right decision in the call. Use resources. One of the best resources you have will be your protocol book. So whenever you're QAing this, make sure that they followed that protocol. That protects you. If you're following your protocol, that's defensible in court. So question assumptions, and that's what I'm saying. Never just say, well, surely they took a blood pressure. So ask for help. Don't ever be scared to admit that, hey, you know, I don't know what to do here. What do you guys think? Like I told you, I've been doing this. I've been in EMS since '97, and I still, whenever I get on some of these weird, crazy, mangled cars, like the firefighters, you know, hey guys, what do you think the best way of getting them out? You know what? Sometimes they have
one of the problems, and you'll see this in a lot of fire agencies, is when you get multiple fire agencies working together, you typically have too many chiefs and not enough. Because we've ran into that. I won't name departments, but we were
Berlin.
No, Berlin wasn't there on this one. But I won't name any departments, but we responded in fall one night to assist on a single vehicle collision with a tree, single patient in the vehicle. She was pinned severely. She swerved and missed a deer. And the reason why we were called is the first 4 sets of jaws didn't start.
Wow.
So we're on set of jaws 5, and there's a 6th set in and around just to be on the safe side. And when that 6th set got there, they didn't start either. So, you know, my issue with that is, you know, if that department shows up to assist you, mutual aid wise, that you should back up a little bit, let those guys operate their tools because they're used to operating their tools. They know what their tools are capable of, and to expedite the situation to get that patient out.
Definitely.
Now, that patient at that point had been already trapped in the vehicle for over an hour, 4 miles from the hospital. 4 miles. 1 mile from the hospital, she expired. She bled out. She had a femoral artery that had been severed, and they couldn't get it clamped off, and didn't realize it until a couple miles from the hospital. So, you know, when you start looking at situations like that, the vehicle never rolled. I mean, it hit a tree. It hit a tree. So you start looking at those situations, and once again, it falls back on too many chiefs and not enough Indians, because at that same situation, we had 2 county deputies that were barking orders on what we should do and how we should do it. And so, you know, we as fire department, we run into a lot of different scenarios, a lot of times, real world scenarios, and we would rather have EMS be like, hey, we've got this person stable, y'all need to hurry.
Yeah.
You know, and when the EMS is telling fire to hurry, that means they're getting nervous. Patient's been there too long, you know, and it's time for us to pick up our game.
Yeah.
So
debrief and look for ways to improve. So kind of the story you told me. If the other departments are willing, debrief. You know, I don't ask me questions. Kim just told me that she left class. if the other departments are willing to, get together, hey guys, how could we have done this differently? What would have worked better? Blah, blah, blah.
And honestly, that did happen.
Yeah.
There was about 20 of us that got together after that.
Yep. That should happen.
And just got together. And we also invited those two deputies to come in on that situation, and they both refused because they were like, well, why? We didn't do anything. When y'all were the ones willing to step up and play firefighter that night, but you didn't want to get your hands dirty, but you wanted to point fingers.
Yeah, you always can't make other agencies join in, but let's say that they don't, you could still have a debriefing and make your department better. So always look for ways to improve. I will tell you this, I got to a certain point in my career where I just accept sometimes things are going to go bad. Does that mean I'm not going to improve? No, I'm always looking to improve. I know that I see it more in the new guys though. They always want to know what could we have done better. Even on a call that's run smooth, patient died. Sometimes people die. We do what's right. We do everything perfect, and sometimes they just die.
And one of the things that people need to understand, as far as fire departments doing this, is our protocol for fire department is life before property. Property can be replaced,
Yeah.
lives can't. EMS, it's a little bit different. It's always the patient.
Yeah.
Because they're not worried about property, because the property that they're worried about, we've already destroyed.
Yeah. So EMS is always changing. So research in EMS. I kind of alluded to this throughout the night. They give two examples. One of them CPR, one of them tourniquets. CPR changes every 5 years. The guidelines change every 5 years. Sometimes they're very minute changes, but they change every 5 years. They study this stuff, and every 5 years they give updates. One of the biggest ones that has ever happened is for the guys that had CPR for a long time, you used to do airway, breathing, circulation. So you check the airway. If they weren't breathing, you breathe. And then you check the pulse. They didn't have a pulse, and you go ahead and did compressions. The CAB. Now you do compressions first, then you do airway and breathing. So it's one of the biggest CPR changes that has ever happened.
And one of the changes that happened, and I can't remember when it was for sure, but they went to straight compressions only, no breaths.
That is on,
And
yeah.
that didn't last very long.
Well, it's still there. It's on a heart saver or a layperson side. It has never been really approved for a healthcare provider. You guys will be considered a healthcare provider. We will do a healthcare provider CPR class in here. Okay, good deal.
Well, everybody here except for a couple.
Okay, so we'll get everybody that needs it. We'll get a card. We'll go over it again a little bit. But you guys are a little different. You guys have never been approved to do, or HA has never said you as a health provider do compression only. It's always been a lay person, because the study shows in the first 5 minutes there's no change in the guy that did airway and compressions. There's no difference between that person's survivability and the person that just got compression only. Compressions are the most important part of it. But as a healthcare provider, we're going to address that airway. We're going to give them the best chance of survival possible. The other one's tourniquets. I was very confused whenever I first became an EMT. We didn't have tourniquets. Boston was still using them. Boston's always used tourniquets. But I was always confused because we've always been a life over limb type service. Yet we're letting people bleed out from femoral artery lacerations or amputations. Most of the time amputations don't bleed that much, but if you get one that the artery doesn't suck back up into the skin, they will bleed out. And I never understood why EMS didn't use tourniquets. Well, then you have the Gulf Wars happen, and all of a sudden there's all this evidence on how many lives tourniquets save. Yeah, these guys don't have legs, they're still alive. A lot of guys come home that without the tourniquet would have bled out on the battlefield. And so EMS goes back to using tourniquets, which only makes sense to me because we're a life over limb. Yeah, who cares if you kill that leg below that tourniquet? By the way, it's a good 6 hours before you start damaging the tissue. We're never going to have them that long. Now, maybe if they delay transport or something like that, you could bump up next to that. But that just because it hits that 6 hour mark doesn't mean that it's definite death sentence for that limb. But hey, the death sentence for that limb is better than the death sentence for that person, right? So EMS, that's just kind of the point of this. The EMS is always changing. I've seen so many changes from mass pants to now the big one is auction use and spine boards and C-collars. That's what they're going after right now. Like I said, EMS is going to evidence-based medicine versus before it was more, well, this is just what EMS does. This is just what we do.
Well, and, you know, you're talking about C-collars, spine boards, and if they're, well, are they really necessary? You know, I can tell you right now, if people don't establish C-spine, they're, well, for instance, Dustin Patterson's dad, he would be walking right now if we did establish C-spine and put him on a backboard and put a collar on him and everything, and get him to actually sit down and stop walking around.
But his dad had mechanism of injury.
Yeah, he had a massive injury, and you know, he was ejected from the vehicle. You know, 'cause I responded to that one, and as soon as I seen his dad, I was like, holy crap. You know, because I knew who his dad was, and you know, and the semi hits the pickup and flings you out the window, so you weren't wearing your seatbelt. With that pickup, I don't think it was even equipped. But you know, and then if the patient's walking around, all I felt fine, and then all of a sudden he starts getting weak. Go ahead, and lay down. Get on the ground, lay down. For sandbirds, I don't care, lay down. You know, and then somebody automatically holds C-spine and just stop moving around. You know, that instantly starts kicking in, and like, where's our EMS? This needs to be getting, just because the patient's walking around after an injection, they automatically, EMS still needs to come check that patient out.
Oh, definitely.
Let that patient sign that refusal. Because at that point, they take their own life into their own hands. Because by signing that refusal.
Yeah, so when I talk about the spine boards and C-collars, yeah, with mechanism of injury, we're definitely still using it. It's the little old lady that just filed from a standing position that EMS, we've always put a spine board and C-collar on, and they're not. So researching you, how can the EMR assist with research? The best thing you guys could do is document what you're doing. Then they're able to go back and look at these, they call them retrograde studies, so they go back and they read the charts, what the patient had, what they ended up being treated for, to see, you know, just what the patient went through. So here's the big picture of the EMS system. So you have a citizen that calls 911. So I don't even know what's going on in this picture. Looks like some cars parked on the side of the road. Exactly. They call 911. The dispatch sends an emergency medical responder to the scene. That's kind of how we work here. Now, Lee, that you guys might do that too, you know, as your role, but then you're able to drive that ambulance. Sarah, you guys will be too if they need two people in the back of that ambulance, or however you guys work it out. An EMR assesses the patient. An EMR transfers care to an EMT. An EMT transports the patient to the emergency department, and then he transfers that patient over to the nurse or doctor. So the transition, you give the ambulance staff a report. This is you as the EMR. The patient looks much better and does not want to go to the hospital. His wife decides otherwise. You'll see that happen a lot. So review. Find the following terms. We don't have our book, but basically EMR is emergency medical responder. You're the first in the scene. You establish the treatment to begin with. You're going to pass off that treatment to an EMT. Emergency medical service or system. Basically, that's what you, as an EMR, EMT, you work inside. And the systems they vary from location to location, as you guys can see. You guys operate a little differently than we do over in Roger Mills. And you guys over at Leedy operate a little differently than I do over at Cheyenne. So public safety answering point. So basically, that's your dispatch. And that's what we're related to here. Emergency medical dispatcher, they're somebody that they're actually trained and certified as an EMD, not just somebody that's answering emergency calls. They've actually gone through an EMD course. They could give what they call pre-arrival. So they could tell a person, check a pulse, okay, start CPR. Emergency medical technician, that's kind of your first line or your entry into the ambulance world. They're the first level, basic level. Advanced EMT, they do a few more things, IVs, depending on the state, intubation, a few more drugs or medications in the basic. And then paramedic is we're kind of the top. We basically, if it could be done in the field, we could do it. So Tiered response, we talked about that already. At Trauma Center, we kind of already talked about that. You have different ones, level 1, level 2. A level 1 would be, example would be OU. Level 2 in Oklahoma is revolving. The only difference between a level 1 and a level 2 is a level 1 hospital is a teaching hospital. So the level 2 hospital has to have all the same things. They have to have a neurosurgeon, cardiovascular. I forget what all the requirements are, but there's quite a few to be a level 1 or level 2. Pediatric center, we have children's OU. So that's our local pediatric center. Burn center is going to be Baptist. They treat burns. Cardiovascular center, obviously, they're going to treat cardiac, right? Heart thing. Stroke center, there's different ones, but Baptist is another one that claims to be doing well with stroke. So, and then review, define professionalism. Guys, professionalism is how you respond with your patients, how you respond with other people, and how you respond with receiving facilities if you do transport. I guess the best way I could sum that up is respect, something that we all have to understand. Show them respect, they'll respect you. Understand that sometimes your professionalism has to come in because sometimes your patients don't respect you. They'll say some terrible things to you. Just let it roll off your back. That's professionalism. There are blank commonly recognized levels of EMS training. We'll have to get the book on this because I want to say that there's 4: your EMR, EMT, advanced, and paramedic. What's that? Well, that's what I'm like. I mean, for some reason, I remember this question being 3, being EMT, advanced, and paramedic. Let's see if they give us the answer. If not, this is a question in the book. So they don't. Oh, you already looked in the.
Yeah, I've already been going.
Bravo.
So we didn't have nothing else to do.
So how many is there? Was there 4? Did you find the answer? Okay.
I don't have a book to look, but there's.
Here, let's do this. Oh, come on.
Google it.
That's what I was going to do. A third service EMS agency is one that is provides care at the paramedic level response from a hospital's basin. I believe it is C, is a separate municipal service. Guys, this will all be in chapter 1 whenever you read it. So, I should have brought
I figured you'd have your book.
my book is sitting on my desk. I actually have this book. I should have brought it. I'll bring it tomorrow.
Just bring it, and then this is a nice copier sitting there. We can fix this no book having problem. I'll make books.
The minimum level required for staff in an ambulance is, I do know this one. The minimum level for the staff in the ambulance.
No, B.
B, yep. Yeah, your minimum level is going to be an EMT. You're always going to have an EMT on that ambulance. Now, with that being said, you have services, I believe Signer's licensed as an intermediate level service. They have to have an intermediate. IMSA is a paramedic level service. There has to be a paramedic in that ambulance. But understand on this question, minimum level required for staffing an ambulance is an EMT. It's just then you start going into your licenses. So.
Signer actually tries to keep a paramedic and a intermediate in SARE at all times. Because they do have a second ambulance here, but they don't have the staff for it.
Yeah.
So usually what happens is, if it needs to happen, the fire department has authorization to go get that second ambulance.
I gotcha.
And that intermediate, whichever one's the less critical, is where that intermediate's going to go.
Gotcha.
And that way the paramedic can take the more critical patient on with the second ambulance, and a firefighter will drive both ambulances.
I gotcha.
So basically, and we got it as right now, that's where we've always operated.
Yeah.
But here recently, we've almost needed to do that a couple of different times. But luckily, with the 522 like it is now, Elk City's coming over here a lot quicker.
Gotcha. So discussion, explain how state legislation relates. You know, guys, I think we discussed all this stuff already. It's just rehashing at this point. I want to get it to where we can take it. Sorry. Get to where we can take a break. That was the last slide. Let me stop sharing here. Okay. Stop. Leedy. Oh, you guys pointed my camera at the ceiling. What's up with that? How am I going to see you guys?
That's why y'all snuck out, that's why they.
I know. Oh, there they are. All right. Okay. Hey, Leedy, have you guys been able to hear me all right? Here, I'll turn your microphone back on. No, I can't.
How about now?
I can hear you guys now. So have you guys been able to hear me all right?
We had a little problem. We got it fixed.
Okay. I might try to get like a little headset or something, which I
got a microphone.
they closed out.
So I got a microphone that you can plug into your computer and just flip it right here.
That'd be awesome. Yeah.
I've got them off.
Yeah.
They'll be able to turn the volume on the computer so it's too loud.
Let's see if they
I used to have a wireless one, but my dog never got it back.
I'll call Cindy.
So I got a
There they are.
question for you.
What's that?
They're the main one. They're in charge.
Yeah.
I understand, at this time, I was not going to do more or nothing like that.
Hey, Leedy, take a 15-minute break. Let's go. Let you guys go get a drink or something, and we'll come back. So we'll meet back at 7:50.
Okay. Hey, so how many, hey, Rob,
The guy is sitting on the bed, sitting up, and he's able to breathe.
Just let me get them gone so we can talk about this. This sounds like an interesting. What was that, Leedy?
okay, we have a question. Is there 3 or 4 EMS deals?
I'm sorry, gosh, I didn't catch that again.
3 or 4 EMS levels?
Oh, I got you on that question.
Yeah,
Let me Google it and I'll answer it whenever we get back. For some reason, I was thinking that I always thought it was 4, and then whenever I did this, I want to say there was 3, and I felt like that was tricky. But let me Google it, and I'll let you know whenever we get back from break.
okay,
Will that work?
works.
Awesome.
All right.
So we're there first. He is injured. He fell off his bed, cut his leg and his arm up, okay? He's sitting in the bed, he's able to breathe. This guy's an elderly guy, really big, prominent spot though. Sitting up, he's able to breathe. They lay him back on the bed. Almost instantly, his face starts turning blue. He can't breathe. We grab him and we lean him back up. Which is common to people with that type of condition. We get him put on the gurney. I had the gurney leaned up. Until he couldn't breathe, he laid him down. And he laid the gurney down, tells him to lay down. Couldn't breathe. And I'm like, listen, he is not breathing. What they told me is he'll be fine until we get him. No, he is not breathing. His face is blue. He's in the ambulance. They don't need much. Guy dies. What could we have done different? Is there anything we could have done different that day? What capacity were you in? Police officer. Police officer and fire chief.
How could be better on the other side?
What's that?
How could be better on the other side?
Oh, shit, no, you leave my life on.
You need speakers?
You know, on mine. There's some right there. I'm gonna start it.
Tim?
We're gonna have to get some studies.
No. I can't do it. I got enough jobs.
Like we're looking at stuff.
Mm-hmm. What do you have to drink tonight? Anything? Not a thing. No good marriage, nothing. I may have a hot bottle of water and I can pick it up. Excuse me, sorry. Not sorry. This is not good. I have no service.
No, I don't either. Yeah, like we're moving to it.
Always moving one. Right.
I got service over here. Not AT&T. Right here. Yeah, right here.
Not there. Huh? Not there. She wrapped it out through the door. She was shaking the crap out of it. There, also was parked in there. Did antifreeze up underneath it. Cold boot. Almost there. We're so concerned. Sometimes we do, sometimes we do.
Is it there more in the winter time? Just random?
Mm-hmm. I can sit down. I'm gonna do this. I can't read it. Not that. We'll move on to that one. I don't even know what I'm saying. I just went up and stood up and she protected you. I've been checking something. Mine is B.
Yeah. I don't know why they.
No. C.
So then I think, well, that either way,
Yeah, I was.
They heard it in chapter.
That's what I was trying to remember.
Yeah. You didn't get it. He did. Yes! I just could see you on the fly.
Why did you do that?
You didn't have to do chest compressions, but did you see that the other day when Todd was down there on the ground? At the fire. But Todd Vaughn was laying flat on his stomach. He's laying flat on his stomach, digging in that hole, that manhole to try to shut the water off. And I went in there and thank you.
Did he freak out?
Yeah, he was laughing. He acted like they're getting mouth to mouth. And once mouths, our beards touched. In no case. I did know this is like licked here.
Really?
Yep, right there. So that all the chapter reviews
Oh,
and all the stop
well, at
reviews.
least we don't get them wrong. I mean, like,
Bad.
yeah, like, in that grade tree, frankly.
You see, I got one where we're talking about how many levels are there?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't even look right there. I That was just,
Yeah, that's all it was, but then you read the bill up there, show it through.
yeah, you can try. We aren't really listening to them anyway, but. I don't know. I don't know.
And then there's just one there,
Okay. Alright, what about you? Well, that's what I think it's putting this over chapters 1 and 2 today, right? Something like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 for Wednesday. Even though it says for 6. You can look, it says the first part of the chapter 6.
Still increase budget.
Hey, Leedy.
What?
Hey, look in on the first chapter of your book. 'Cause you guys have books. We don't have books over here. Look at there should be some questions in the back. See if that question is one of those questions, and see if they'll give us an answer.
Questions in the back of the book?
Yeah, well, not in the back of the book, in the back of the chapter. So in the back of chapter 1, there should be a list of questions.
Like the chapter review you're talking?
Yes.
Which of the following statements is false? A, the EMS system includes the hospital, emergency department. B,
I'm just going to see there are blank commonly recognized levels of EMS training. I was going to see if that question is in there.
no,
Oh, okay.
it's not in the chapter review.
Terrible. Let me see if maybe.
It's only in the critical thinking. It's in the stop review, remember, Dale?
Oh, is it?
Yeah, and their answer in the back of the book is 4.
4. Okay. Good deal.
But you read on page 9, it shows 3. Shows
It's shown EMT, advanced, and paramedic.
Yep.
Okay. So they're in the back of the book and the critical thinking. They're adding the EMR.
Yes.
I'm gonna see if I can't get a definitive answer on that. I mean, I don't think it's hugely important, but it is kind of frustrating.
One question, and I'd be wrong with
Can you read that?
Oh, are you sure? Let me see here. Gosh, dang it. Okay. Please check next to the correct answer. There are blanks. And so you guys are marking 4.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what they're saying. Okay, cool. We'll go with that since that's actually the question, and they gave you the answer, right?
Yep.
Cool. Okay. It's 4. Can you guys hear me? Is this a little louder now?
Hey, Rob.
I can't hear them. Okay, can you guys hear me again?
Yeah.
Okay, I couldn't hear you guys. So
Could
I was
they-
trying to little microphone. It mutes out the speakers and only have one jack.
Do you, you don't want us to turn in the stop review, whatever's, do you?
No, not the stop reviews, just the end of chapter reviews.
Okay.
And kind of what I was going to tell you guys. I saw that you had yours marked in your book. I mean, you could show me like that, or if you guys just want to do, like answer it on a piece of paper and email it to me or answer in the computer. It doesn't really matter. Or you guys could assign somebody there that'll look at the books. I just want to make sure everybody's doing the work. However we need to do that. I'll probably actually know through a test, but.
Hey, do we have to do ER clinicals?
No, you do not. With the EMR, there's no mandatory clinical time. You can, however, and I'll talk to Kim, see if you guys can ride out with Lady on their calls as a student, and kind of same with you guys. It's not necessarily if you guys could ride with there if you want to. There's no requirement to. What are you doing, Darren? I thought that was you.
What are you doing?
Nothing. Are you taking this?
Yeah.
I think it's this.
66 hours. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and get the second group PowerPoint slide brought up. It looks like probably most likely by the time we're done, it's going to be close enough time to go. So let's get started on them.
I think you go from my event. Yeah. So law enforcement.
Yeah. And that's part of it.
Go back here. Share my screen.
Our internet quit, Rob, for a minute.
Do what?
Our internet went off and come back on.
I think that was me.
Oh,
So you guys can hear me again?
yeah.
Once I do the screen share, sometimes it messes it up. Can you guys still hear me?
Yep.
All right, good deal.
Hey, they're asking when they're gonna get their other book.
I'm not ordering 2 more, right?
Yes, sir.
I'll do the I think next day. It'll probably be Wednesday. I'm gonna say at least Wednesday, but you guys will definitely have it for the next week's class. I'll get it over to Leedy as soon as I can for you guys to pick up.
Okay. They're asking me a lot of questions to ask you.
Okay, yeah, let's do question and answer then.
What?
Now we're on the question.
We're already done with chapter 1. Hey, Rob, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I want to know how quick it'll be on YouTube.
I can post it. Actually, it will be on YouTube if you know where my channel's at. I'll try to, as soon as we're done, send out a link on email.
Okay.
But I'll just make this deal with you because I got to get everybody's email address in. I will
Yep.
send out tomorrow morning the link. If you want to, you could just search for me on, I think you could just go to my YouTube channel. But I don't know how to do all that, really.
I don't have a clue.
You know anybody that used the book, the Kindle version?
No,
You would know if it's the same or just the Kindle
it
version.
will be the same.
The Kindle version is $8 versus $120.
That's another thing, guys. If you guys want to use the Kindle version, I'm sure Kindle would reimburse you if you guys want to do an electronic book, and you'll have it tomorrow.
But you have it right now if you want to do that.
Yeah, you can have it right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's right there.
Second edition. But I will first thing when I get to work in the morning, first thing I'll do is get everybody's email address in, and I will send out the link to the YouTube.
Okay.
Hear me yammer on again.
Is it going to be like this exact time every
Is it going to be like this exact class?
what you do right now?
Like
Yeah,
what-
it will be the recording of the class. It's just in case you have to miss a class, and my hopes is that everything will get a little smoother as the class goes on. But the idea is if you let's say that you have to be gone, you can still get credit for attending the class by watching YouTube. Just let me know you watched it. That makes sense.
I went to Google,
Uh-huh.
put in YouTube, and then just put your name, and found you right off. And I actually have exactly what you have on the screen right now on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm streaming live on YouTube.
Yeah.
So I just don't I don't know enough whether you could ask me questions through YouTube like you guys can through the Google Hangout thing.
No, because you're not going to be able to hear us.
Yeah.
I can even hear myself now on YouTube. That's nice.
All right, you guys ready to get started, or you have any more questions?
You guys have any more questions?
Hey, Darren, tell them to feel free to email me. If they need to. I sent my email is in that. Well, obviously they got my email. They have my email address, but.
I printed out your syllabus you gave to everybody.
Okay, yeah, if they have questions that they're like, I don't want to ask in front of them, just have them email me. Another thing you could do, don't do it tonight after class, but, reasonable hour, just shoot me a text. If you're studying, and that's for everybody here, if you're studying and you don't understand something, shoot me a text, all right? So I'm free. I'm here to help you guys out. I'll help you the best I can. So. You guys ready to get started?
You ready? We're ready.
All right.
We've already done our chapter 1 and chapter 2 test.
You guys have?
Yeah.
Nice. They're sitting over there, Lee, doing in the chapter test. Yeah,
Overachievers.
exactly. This guy, he's a bunch of nonsense. He just do this. Cool. Whatever you guys need to do.
All right. See you
I'll help
Wednesday.
you guys any way I can. I'm like I said, I'm a course facilitator. I'm not really a teacher. So.
All right. See you Wednesday.
All right. So, objective directory. Objectives for this chapter can be referenced on page 21 of the textbook. Scene safety. I may get onto a soapbox whenever we start talking about scene safety. Protection from disease, stress, death and dying, lifting and moving patients, and patient restraint. So I'm going to wait till we get to these topics in the slides before I talk about them, because if not, then I feel like I skip over stuff I should have. But if we don't talk about scene safety, I will talk about scene safety when this is done. Darren, I didn't realize you're there, so we have a law enforcement guy over there. We have a law enforcement guy over here. You guys are scene safety guys, and we appreciate it whenever you keep us safe. So introduction, scene safety, and taking care of yourself. Please make sure a scene is safe. Stand off. If there's the law enforcement guys know that one of their most dangerous calls is a domestic. You go into a man and woman arguing about something, the next thing you know, people are getting shot. And so I highly encourage that if they don't give you nature a call, or they won't give it to you over the radio, that you call and find out what nature a call is. I would not go into a scene that is an assault, a domestic, a shooting, a suicide attempt, or anything like unknown, drug overdose. I would stand off and let the law enforcement guys clear the scene. That's what they're good at. They wear these cool things. Do you wear vests? Crazy. So typically they wear
Everybody under the chief and assistant chief don't, because we don't get out in the field as much.
Oh, I got you.
Everybody down from there does.
Okay. They have the equipment. They have bulletproof vests. They have guns to protect themselves, and then they have us to plug up that hole. If all else fails. So let them go in and clear a scene. I've been around too many bad scenes. So anyway.
I do carry one in my car.
Do you? Okay. Yeah. Cool. So you got if you're gonna go somewhere, you're like, yeah, I'm gonna invest. Okay. So, and taking care of yourself. I'm with a little different crowd than the typical EMS crowd, but EMS is notorious for eating lots of fast food, being under a lot of stress, not ever sleeping, and then they put slides up here like this: take care of yourself. The taser.
Yeah. We're gonna have tasers.
Is Darren tasing the other students to keep them away? So anyway, take care of yourself. So here's the call. Environment, your call to a residence. Dispatch, man down call. Caller still in the line. Husband fell in the bathroom. Caller cannot wake him up. So scene safety, looks like we're going to talk about protecting yourself from violence. Observation, signs of violence, weapons, crowds, drugs, and alcohol. Your dispatch a lot of times can give you a lot of good information. I have made the mistake. I thought I was standing off far enough, and then they find me, and they're like, hey, the house is right over here. That's great. I'm waiting for the sheriff's office. So make sure that you stay out of their sight, because they will come to you if you're sitting there standing off. But signs of violence, obviously, are some things that we talked about, the domestic. Whenever a caller doesn't want to give a nature call, if they just need an ambulance, it usually comes out as an unknown. I'd wait for law enforcement. Sometimes you got to use your own judgment on it. If at any point in time a patient gets violent, a weapon comes out, you feel in danger of any sort, you do have the right to retreat. You do not have to stay in that situation, okay? You don't have to put yourself in danger to help people out. So if it allows, retreat. And we'll talk about in some of these slides a little bit later, I don't know if it's on these, but talk about the difference between concealment and cover. And so anyway, do not feel obligated to stay on scene if things are getting dangerous for you. Oh, good. Hey, look, cover and concealment. There's two different types of cover and concealment. These ballistics guys would know better. I don't think that trash can will stop a rifle round. I think depends on how full of trash it is. Is it true that not even the cars really aren't a safe place for a rifle? So the best thing for cover would be a berm of some sort, concrete wall with ground that you could get behind. So just be aware of that. Be aware that some of these things just aren't the best things to hang out behind. I personally think if these EMTs, or I guess they're firefighters, weren't sure of this scene, they shouldn't be the ones checking it out. This should be law enforcement. So that's my personal opinion of the whole thing. Distraction and retreat. Hey, look, trash, and then run. So this they might have got called to a psychotic patient or psychosis patient or something like that. Somebody having mental issues, and now he's going to get violent with them, and now they're going to retreat. Sometimes you do find yourself in a situation on accident that the best thing to do is just, pack up your stuff and run. Maybe even give them that jump bag there. Let them have that. I don't know. So other scene hazards, obviously, you're going to have this is depicting, a chemical hazard. They make the orange book. What's that orange book called? Yeah, it's a hazmat book. It's orange. Comes out every 2 years or 4 years?
That box, that projector sitting on the floor.
Anyway, if you have a leak or a spill or something, guys, we are not prepared. Now, the fire guys. Let's see. I think I'm getting a text from Leedy here. Let's see what it is. In the first test. Let me look at the syllabus to answer that. I believe we're doing section tests. So if the first section has chapter 6, the first section is the first 6 chapters. If that's the case, then I'm guessing it's going to be 1 through 6. But there might be a reason I did that, and maybe because of how the state was. Does somebody have the syllabus printed out? Do you mind if I look at it?
That's what I was looking at real quick.
I'll just be able to answer by looking at it. The reason that chapter 6 isn't in it is, I think, because I actually had to move chapter 6 to meet how the state wanted it done. So we have 1, 2, 2 and 3, 3, 4, 5. What is chapter 6?
Chapter 6.
Yeah, what did?
Chapter 4 is what it says on here.
Where is it?
Terminology and lifespan.
Okay.
Lifespan development.
Okay, so the how the state has their stuff does not they do not allow time for those subjects. So I can throw out that chapter. Now for your national registry, you'll want to go over it. You'll just want to read it real quick and have an idea of it. Okay, so just 6.
So that's not on the test.
No, I won't put it on the test.
Okay.
I'll just do chapters 1 through 5. Please go ahead and do it. Just read through it or whatever. Have an idea of it just for your national registry. If you do national registry. That makes
Okay.
sense?
Do you want us to do the chapter review on it or not?
It would be good for you to do the chapter review on it. I'm not going to require it. Since the state doesn't allow time for it, I'm not going to require it. Will that work for you guys?
Yeah.
If you do, I mean, you're gonna be ahead for studying for your exam if you for the national exam if you go ahead and do it. In the next probably week or so, I plan on getting you guys the different websites to practice for the national or state exam. That way, because I think that's the best way to test it is to go through and do those practice websites. And I'll get you a list of some good ones. Okay. Yeah, the cool ones are ones that'll give you let you take a test and give you the rationale of the wrong and right answer. Okay, if I can find something like that, that's what I'm going to recommend to you guys, because a lot of times you might not know exactly why it's that way, and then you read the rationale, and then it kind of completes the whole picture. So I'll get that for you guys. All right. Sorry about that. So moving on. So hazardous materials, be aware of the placards. If there's a leak, a lot of times dispatch is going to be able to tell you there's a leak. Be very cautious going into that. Obviously, we want to approach from the. You don't want the wind coming at you. Trying to think, is it upwind? Is that the correct term?
Yeah.
Okay.
Downwind is unspeakable.
Yeah, downwind.
Upwind is the way.
So, I can't believe I forgot the proper terminology in that. So you want to make sure that you're upwind of it. Read the placard, and then you know whether it's safe to approach. Do you guys have hazmat equipment out here?
Oh, no.
So you guys got to call.
The postal hazmat team is Woodward.
Wow.
That's a level 2 hazmat team.
So if it's a true hazmat, let's say a huge anhydrous spill.
Anhydrous, we use for some.
Yeah, that's nuts.
I mean, if the tank's sitting there blowing off, but there's too much pressure, we're just going to back up.
Yeah.
You know, and let it finish doing what it needs to do. If it's like, for instance, right here on the southwest side of town, we have a rail yard. That at any given time, there can be anywhere from 10 to 15 rail cars full of methanol.
Okay. Yeah.
So methanol, anhydrous around here is kind of unheard of type deal.
Yeah.
But we have more of the methanol and the crude oil and stuff like that right here at the southwest side of town.
Yeah.
And depending on the wind is how much area of town you're going to have to evacuate.
Yeah.
But in that situation, there's not a whole lot we can really do other than, try to get water on it.
Yeah.
And start cooling it and let it burn itself out.
Yeah.
So
one thing that I've seen out here in Western Oklahoma a lot is people entering unstable vehicles. These vehicles on their side that look like they're going to go ahead and roll on over. Time and time again, I've seen people enter them to get patients out. You guys have shoring equipment, right? Let your fire department shore up that vehicle. It might take a little bit more time, but once again, scene safety. Then confined spaces. You guys probably are a little better at confined spaces. You guys do confined space rescue and things like that?
we got 4 people that can do it.
Okay. So a lot of times your fire departments have the personnel to help out with that. Leedy, you guys might be a little different. It's one of those things. You gotta, I guess, weigh the risks on it. Protection from disease. Obviously, you want to wash your hands and glove up on every patient. Okay. I tell people that EMS is one of the few jobs that you actually wash your hands before you go to the bathroom and then after you go to the bathroom. But you want to make sure that you're at a minimum wearing your gloves on every patient. Now you have somebody that has an arterial bleed or something like that, you're going to increase that level of protection. So you're going to put on a gown, goggles, whatever it needs to try to keep the blood off you. Guys, you don't want to get hepatitis C. I promise you don't want it. And one of the best ways to prevent hep C is just not playing people's blood. Obviously, in the field, sometimes you're getting some blood on your clothes. Best thing to do, change your clothes, wash your clothes. But if you can prevent it through personal protective equipment or PPE, that's the best way of going about it. So, standard precautions from body fluids is typically gloves and, like I said, gown. And then you get into the airborne droplets where you are looking at you want to use a mask on yourself with eye protection. Or another thing is a lot of people do is put a mask on the patient if they're, it helps keep your ambulance or the ambulance clean. So that's something to think about. Maybe not just a mask on yourself, but a mask on the patient so they're coughing, they're not contaminating everything that you took in. So some things to think about. Before the response, guys, I highly recommend you do your vaccinations. I don't know what your policy is, department policy is. And Lee, I don't know what your guys' are, but at Roger Mills, you have to either have the vaccination or sign the waiver. And so obviously you want tetanus, Hep A, Hep B, measles, mumps, or the MMR, chicken. If you had chicken pox, great. And then I don't ever do the flu shot. I don't know. I don't. So I don't like needles. I'd rather throw up and be sick for 2 weeks than.
You can give it, you don't want to take it.
Yeah, no, I'll poke people all day long. A lot of services are getting to where they're requiring their staff get titers drawn. Make sure that you are protected from the hepatitis A or hepatitis B. That's kind of a policy or a agency policy specific. But during the response, personal protective equipment, protect yourself from disease, don appropriate equipment. Obviously, you want to throw any contaminated thing in a red biohazard bag, and it needs to be disposed of appropriately. With you guys doing first response until you get something in place, something that might be really good, take your gloves off and put it in the ambulance's red bag before it leaves.
We got red bags on our.
Do you? Okay, cool.
And honestly, the red bag, they go straight to landfill.
Yeah.
That's where they go. With the hospital, all their red bags went to the hospital, went to landfill.
Really?
Yeah.
They're not incinerating them?
Nope.
Huh.
We're not blaming. You go out to the landfill out here, you watch the red bags.
Wow. So, don't play in the landfill. It's full of red bags. During the response, personal protective equipment, eye and face protection, safety glasses, surgical masks, and face shields. Guys with the extrication, you want to make sure your eyes are protected. That glass pops. You don't want glass in your eyes. It's not cool. You don't want to lose eye. Metal go flying. So do the best you can. So here's respiratory protection. That one is a glorified paint mask. You want really, if you want respiratory protection, this would be more something I put on a patient. You want to wear an N95 mask, so it'll actually filter out. The air for you. That one, it might be an N95 rated mask. It doesn't look like it. So the gown protects clothes from being contaminated. Use for major trauma. Use for childbirth. I'm going to be honest with you, the only time I ever wore a gown was whenever I had a guy that shot himself in the head with double barrel shotgun. And he actually just shot his face off, and then he reloaded and finished the job. So 4 shotgun shells and took his head completely off. And we had to pick it up to take it to the ME, which we don't really do much of that anymore. So that's a kind of a horror story that you guys won't have to deal with, or you shouldn't have to deal with. But that's the only time I've ever worn a gown. Yeah. Okay. So the law enforcement guy, that's a little different. Sorry. What's that?
He flinched the first time.
He laid down in the bed. He had the shotgun laying on his chest. He laid down in the bed and put it under his chin. It just blew his face off. And so then he got up, and so they investigated it for 4 or 6 hours, something like that, and finally let us come in. But they finally found out that he had blood on the bottom of his boot. Got up, found some shotgun shells, reloaded, and then he just leaned over it. And man, it was a mess. So Yeah, no, it was
You waited outside on the one that we went, but-
here's our guy that his team had lost, so so I guess he is not real happy about that. So exposure to an infectious substance, I highly encourage you to come up with an exposure plan. I'm lucky I work at the hospital. We just use the hospital's exposure plan. But exposure could be anything from somebody accidentally getting blood spit in their eyes. It's happened to me. To you go to extricate somebody out of a car, there's broken glass everywhere, and let's say that there's broken glass on a puddle of blood, and then you get cut with that glass. It's happened to me. And then also you can have needle sticks. I've been pretty lucky, knock on wood. I've never had a needle stick, at least a needle stick from a patient. I have stuck myself with a needle when I was getting ready to draw medications. So it was a clean needle, so I didn't really worry about it. And I obviously I changed needles and everything. But, so exposure, infectious waste disease exposure procedure, and then what to do if you're exposed. I believe you guys will want to talk to Kim on that to see what your plan is if you start working for Leedy. No matter what department you work for, there should be an exposure plan. I'm sure you guys have something. So.
We're actually going through about 60 years with a whole SOD
Yeah.
and refining them.
Yeah.
And city attorneys actually have to be exactly
That's
involved.
good.
So it's been about a 6-month process already.
So at a minimum, you need to talk to the person in charge if you have an exposure. They might at that point in time, they will develop an exposure plan. They'll send you over to get tested and find out where to go from there. So hand washing, use warm water, scrub, use a brush if necessary, rinse, dry, turn off water with a barrier. That's some serious hand washing. Working on a car or something with a scrub with a brush. I never had my hands so nasty, bloody that I had to use a brush in EMS. Gotta wear gloves. Stress. This is where you start getting into the joke of these slides. Guys, you're gonna deal with stress. You're dealing with people's worst days, right? So you gotta learn to manage that stress. So stressors, life-threatening situations. Seeing the stress of patients, family, or bystanders, seriously ill or injured patients, death of patient or coworker. The death of a coworker is a real high stress situation. A lot of times you'll lose some other members of your department over something like that. I'm not saying they'll kill themselves or anything like that, but they might just decide that their time with that service is done. It weighs heavy on people.
Usually we make those people start doing road guard and stuff like that. Maybe they flag traffic, traffic control and things like that. We pull them away from those type of scenes.
Yeah.
Because they don't do well. And a lot of guys that don't do well after like the first or second time.
Yeah.
They usually come to you and say, hey, I'll do all the traffic control. I'll stay out here all night long. Don't put me up there again.
And that's a good point. Know your limits. If something really bothers you, you know what? Maybe this isn't for you. Understand that. Don't give yourself nightmares and unable to cope with it. Because you're trying to do good for the department or be tough or whatever it is. Some people just do not do well with it. And if you're one of those people, recognize that right away. Get with your chief, get with your EMS director or whatever. Maybe there's still a place for you. Maybe you go to help drive. Maybe you flag traffic like Chief Aarons was saying. It doesn't always have to be that hands-on position, but be self-aware. So multiple patients increase your stress, and then pediatric patients are pretty stressful. So here's some signs of stress: difficulty sleeping or nightmares, irritability, sadness, anxiety or guilt, indecisiveness, loss of appetite, lost in interest in sexual activity. So I've experienced pretty much all those top ones. I don't think I've ever experienced.
You know, that's what I was getting at. I was like, nah, it's not 5 out of 6 of those, man. That describes me.
I've actually been stressed out to the point where I haven't eaten. I get pretty indecisive. I don't know if I've ever had anxiety, or maybe I have a little anxiety, but never guilt or sadness, but irritability, definitely. I get pretty irritable whenever I get stressed out. And, you know, with EMS wise, I've never had trouble sleeping. I've had a lot of really bad calls. The funny thing is, talking about nightmares, and this is a little off subject. I've only dreamed about one patient, and it's just weird. I wouldn't even have considered it a nightmare. It's the guy that got his head smashed by a tree. And I had a dream that he was he's lying on the park bench with his head smashed. He sat up and he's talking to me. I thought it was weird. It wasn't scary like a nightmare. It was the only patient-related dream I've ever had. I sleep well at night. So. But no, I've never had that bottom one. So. I guess I haven't been that stressed out yet. So signs of stress, isolation, lots of interest in work. I have that on a good day. Inability to concentrate, I have that on a good day. Feelings of hopelessness, misuse of drugs or alcohol, and signs of physical illness. You know, if you guys look around hard enough in the EMS community, the hospital community, you see a lot of these things. A lot of people dealing with stress in different ways, and some of them, you know, they don't know how to deal with it. Alcoholism is pretty bad among EMS people, law enforcement guys, you guys, fire guys. You know,
It's a high stress environment. It doesn't matter if it's EMS, fire, police.
All three of them.
It's all
Hospital.
stress.
Yeah.
I mean, hospital. It doesn't matter. It's a high stress environment. If you've had a stressful day, you have a tendency to resort to something that makes you feel a little better.
Don't talk to that guy. He looks like he used car something. I actually read an article in GYMS that made a lot of sense. A lot of law enforcement guys, they don't like talking to dudes like this. Why? Because this dude, what? Yeah, because he looks like a turd. Dude, guys like this haven't been where we've been. They haven't seen the things that we've seen. And so, for the most part, talking to guys like this has shown not to really help all that much. You know what helps? For you guys to talk to guys like you.
And decompress inside, talking to your fellow
Yeah.
firemen, law enforcement.
You guys have been in the trenches with you, you know. The article is about a law enforcement guy that actually went into mental health to help his brothers, you know, and so it was a really good article. Made a lot of sense to me because I've never wanted to talk to this guy. Yeah, I'll talk to my EMS people. We talk about a lot of messed up things. It's a coping mechanism, but I've never wanted to talk to that guy. So. Everyone experiences it, lifestyle changes and professional help. One thing I've been trying to do lately, obviously by my eggs I've eaten and my nuts and my bananas, I'm trying to eat better, try to deal with some stress. I got pretty stressed out there for a little bit. I'm doing a lot better now until this class, and so you guys are going to throw me over the edge again. So yeah, no doubt. So death and dying. It's something that you guys are going to deal with. I've already mentioned it once that sometimes we do everything that we can for a patient. Everything went right on the call, and they're going to die. People die. Sometimes you do everything wrong on a call, and they live, and they shouldn't have. EMS is a weird world. So experiencing death is inevitable. Signs of death: tissue decay, rigor mortis, obvious signs and battle of life. So if their brain's sitting next to them, I don't care if they're breathing, that person's not going to live. Okay, it's just a matter of time. Each person needs to decide what level they want to work at. I won't work it. I don't want to put anybody through that. Whenever and I say this because I've had the ones that are still breathing and brain matter is out of the brain, out of the cavity. And I won't work it. You give the family a false sense of hope. Most families don't understand the medical situation that's going on, you know. And then you put that stress on your staff, and it's just something that you need to decide if you don't think that you can sleep at night, if you don't do everything you can for that patient, then you need to work it. And so what you can do and feel like that, you can call up the hospital, say, hey, we have this patient, and even tell them, hey, we have brain matter out of the head. One I had was a softball size out of the exit wound, herniating out of the head. He's still breathing normal. We just called, we painted a picture. They said no, they didn't want him. They didn't want to have him in, and so we waited for him to die on scene. So you got to make that decision. Also, for you guys as EMRs, you might think about that if you guys go to a car wreck and you have somebody that is dead, and then use your resources on a patient that could be saved. Don't waste the resources on the dead guy, because once you start that CPR, a lot of services will just go ahead and transport that patient because you started it. They don't want to. They don't want you to feel like you didn't do right. They want you to feel like you did everything you could. So they're going to do everything they can to continue that. And so be aware of that. And you guys might have to discuss that in policies and procedures. If you have a car wreck, no signs, if there's signs not compatible with life, then maybe you guys just go ahead and call it and work on the people that you can help. But that's a policy specific. Agency-specific procedure. So here's the stages dealing with grieving, denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. Everybody will go through every one of these stages. It doesn't have to go in this order. You can come back to stages, but you will go through them no matter how brief. So, unless you don't have time, you just somebody ends you or you have a car wreck. So. All right. So any questions over that stuff that we just talked about? I know it's kind of the not cool thing or the not fun thing about this course. But anyway, so lifting and moving patients. Guys, the lifting and moving patients is where you're going to end your career if you don't try to do it right. Okay? Always try to lift your patients right. Always try to move them right, because you don't want to get a back injury. You guys have all seen people with the back injury. They have a hard time with it, right? So you guys are laughing.
I've got a service connected back injury.
Do you?
Yeah.
It sucks, right?
And it's not the fire service, it's from the military, but it's also in my neck and my lower back. So
And it's no good, is it?
it's no fun.
Yeah.
It's no fun.
But you could have, from have you gotten any disability from the military? You're still active, right? So you're still able to function, but you could go from still able to function where you just deal with some pain. I got the kind. He's kind of able to pretty much fully disabled. It was right when I came, but I've lost an EMT to a back injury, and her back injury happened before I came, but she was exiting the service as I showed up, so I got to see the end of that, and it was debilitating to her. So the best thing you do is try to lift your patients correctly. You're going to deal with all kinds of cots and loading systems out there. If you don't know how to operate that loading system, talk to the people that it's their loading system. Maybe they'll just want you to lift in a certain place or something like that. Let them direct you if you don't know how. You fire guys are usually awesome about helping you guys. Where do you need me? Type thing. We direct you guys, do what we need you to do. The loading and unloading is getting to be such an easier thing. Leedy, I know that you guys have the auto load systems. We have the auto load system. Do they have them over at Elk?
Yes.
Okay.
Not all the trucks do.
One they bring over here.
Yeah.
Okay. Do they?
Out of 4 ambulances, I know for a fact 3 of them.
Okay. But Signer doesn't.
Signer does not, but they're in the process of getting new ambulances.
Gotcha.
And one of them is coming to Sager. It's supposed to have the auto load.
I know that those auto load systems will save not only your back, but it'll save you a patient drop as long as you know how to use them. So use proper body mechanics to execute the lift, and then positioning patients for comfort and safety. We talked a little bit about patient positioning tonight. I don't know if you guys heard it, but the question was the patient couldn't breathe lying down. Set them up, they can breathe great. I won't really get much more into that story. But I mean, to me, it's a no-brainer. Patient should be set up. And I don't know how to answer your question, how you fix that whole deal. But anyway, Richard Miller, he's flying with Air Evac out of Weatherford right now. And one of his best stories was, those patients that they're filling up with blood, here we are EMS, just putting them on a spine board and C-collar and laying them down. And he's like, rather than do that, I just put a CAT on them and set them up. Save the person's life because now they're not drowning. Guys, position of comfort. Most of the time, those patients want to sit in that position for a reason. That tripod position so they could breathe. And so they're experiencing less pain. You have the kidney stones that are in that fetal position. That's the only comfortable position for them. If at all possible, load them in that position. Does that make sense? It'll make your life easier. So here's the body mechanics. Keep your back straight and in line. Grip firmly and securely. Ensure solid footing. Do not twist. Communicate and coordinate. I wish they'd put communicate and coordinate at the top because that's very important. I've witnessed. I've never dropped because I'm always talking whenever we're moving a cot, we're moving a patient, no matter how mundane it is. The thing is you get one person that's not doing something right, lets that cot get going sideways a little bit, catches the rock. Now all of a sudden you got a cot that's flipped over on a patient. And so I'm always talking. I'm always communicating on what I want to do because I don't want to experience a patient drop or a cot flip. And I don't want to drop patient down the stairs. So I'm always talking. And communication is key. Let them know what you want or ask them if you guys are getting ready to go downstairs as an EMR helping the EMS agency. How do you want us to do this? Where do you need us? Don't be scared to talk to them. If they're not,
a lot of times our local crew now, most of the time they're going to back up and they're going to let fire and police guys that are on scene pretty much work together and move that patient out of the structure. And it's usually one person at the head, and that person's pretty much following all the shots and holding everybody up and making everybody move to keep it stable.
Yep.
So,
yeah. Communication. Basically what you explained to me is you guys have a system, you have communication, and that's important. A lot of problems could be solved just by being willing to talk throughout that call. Yeah. So. And that's not just on cot handling and patient lifting. That's everything on the call. Hey, do you want me to get a blood pressure? Talk about the patient. Hey, I see this. And so we'll get into different things as we go on through the course. Bariatric patients, a patient who's extremely overweight or obese. Make proper decisions regarding lifting capabilities. Use specialized bariatric equipment. Unfortunately, we don't have specialized bariatric equipment out here. Some services are getting to where they get the arms or the rails that will fold down at different levels. Oh man.
We got some large people around here.
Yeah.
And most ERs, when you take a patient in there and you put them on the gurney inside the hospital, it's got a little digital meter down there. If you'll look at it, it'll tell you what that person actually weighs. And when she's saying, "Oh, I only weigh 315," and you get her there, and she weighs 615.
Yep.
You're about 300 pounds heavier than what you said.
Hospitals try to do that to us on fly.
And the cot's only rated at 750 or 500 or 400.
With a 206, I believe we were at 350. I think with that 407, they could do 400. But man, it was amazing. Every huge patient that they called to see if we could transfer was 345 pounds. Like, you get there, you're like, seriously? So, anyway, the big thing about the bariatric patients, not to rag on big people, but that make sure that you have the proper help. If it's just you and one other guy, obviously you don't want to try to lift this 600-pound patient up from behind his bed. We have what we call mega movers, which are awesome. They're basically a tarp with a whole bunch of handles that we could put a big person on, and we could get about 10 people around a patient carrying us. Skids work too. The cool thing about the mega movers is it's like a big tarp with handles.
We actually got one mega mover.
Uh-huh.
It was donated to us. And we were told if you ever use this, you won't get another one. So we don't use it unless we absolutely have to.
We love
It's
it.
still brand new in the package. It's in the recipe.
We love them. We have, but you know, that's one of those things. It's each department, and
Well, and, we use a mega mover on the patient, probably about a year ago. About 3 of the handles snapped off the mega
Oh.
mover.
that's not good.
Yeah, they wasn't good. I mean,
Or-
luckily the patient was no longer alive.
The ones that we had, it's a continuous strap. So rather than it being sewn onto it, it's a full
Yeah,
full strap snapped off.
Yeah.
That's not good.
Yeah, yeah. Somebody, that was made on a Friday. Somebody
Yeah, no doubt.
Somebody drank too much beer at lunch.
What Chinese factory did that come out of? So the response. So the patient's wife is waving you into the house. Patient was on the toilet and collapsed. You don gloves and eye protection. Police arrive on scene. Patient is pulseless. Patient is located in a small bathroom. You successfully move the patient to another room. Hey, good job on the eye protection, guys. That's one thing I'm bad about, and I told you I've already had blood spit in my eye once. Afterwards, I bought a pair of Oakleys and had clear frames in them, but I don't stick with it. Oh, my battery's low. I guess I should plug that in. Anyway, what are some things about this call that stick out to you guys? Anything in particular?
Now the patient was full of it, collapsed.
Yep. That's actually kind of a common thing. He sounds like he bageled out and coated. That's not.
We were just actually commenting on a couple of different scenarios that we've actually ran into where they were in the shower,
Yep.
bottom of shower bathtub situation in an RV. We have 3 RV parks in this town,
Yeah.
not counting the parks, so there's 4. And during the winter months and fall months, we get a lot of calls where we're borderline on having to take a chainsaw cut through the side of the RV to get them out.
Yeah.
So, yeah, some of the things on that right there, you're like, yeah, small bathroom.
Coding a patient never works in a small bathroom. You got to get them out of there. So that's something that as an EMR. So no, you can't. That balances a lot. Too soft. So the lift. Communicate. Keep weight close. Why is this slide here? Is my question. Check foot placement. Use proper grip. Bend at your knees. So I think that should have been a few slides back. Positioning patients for safety and comfort. There's actually, I think, a better way to do this exact same lift that he's doing right there. If he would go ahead and reach down and grab that guy's wrist and pull those wrists up and hold them, man, it makes awesome handles. You can lift people up. That looks like it's going to be kind of a hard lift to
You
me.
can actually pick people up that weigh twice your body weight.
Oh, easy, yeah.
So if you're normally about a 225 person, you can pick somebody up that normally it's around 3 to 350 if you do that, because it actually locks your arms with their arms and turns into a big flying system.
The only bad thing is the bathtub scenario you talked about, and they've been in the bathtub so long they pooped everywhere,
Yeah.
and then you have to lift them out like that. Yeah. You guys still want to do the So they're going to talk about emergency moves versus urgent moves. Basically, emergency move is one that you have maybe a car that gets on fire. You're not worried about C-collar, spine boarding, and you're pulling that person out. An urgent move is you want to get them out of the car, but you're still going to put basic splinting on C-collar or whatever. So positioning patients for safety and comfort. And guys, and Lee, if you guys are working on these questions, you'll see that there's some pretty iffy questions on the urgent versus emergent moves in it. It's kind of hard to explain, but one of them is a life over limb type move, and the other isn't. So, emergency moves: fire, risk of an explosion, unstable vehicle or surfaces, cardiac arrest, the need to access other patients. So, our guy in the bathroom, we have to move him. Is that? I'm guessing we call that an emergency move, right? Because we have cardiac arrest.
If EMS isn't on scene and local police was already on scene, or law enforcement, as it said, I believe, yeah, they're going to do what they think is right. They're going to get him out of the small room, get him into a big room. more area to operate in.
So if we're gonna code him, it's gonna be an emergent move. We're not worried that he may fell over and hit the bathtub or anything like that, right? That's kind of secondary in our whole frame of mind. We want to get him out of that room.
Get him out of that room
Yeah.
so you can start evaluating him while you're still waiting on EMS to get there.
So positioning patients for safety and comfort, the drag. So what he did here, so that she's not dragging her arms for them to catch on everything, he went ahead and tied them together, and he's just going to drag her out. Position patient for safety and comfort, cradle carry. Yeah, that looks sweet, right? So I've never carried anybody like that.
He's a little red in the face.
Yeah,
He might be a little heavy.
he's like, oh, why'd you guys do that to me? I've never used a cradle carry. So
Small kids.
Small, yeah, okay.
Children.
Yeah.
Adults, you're probably not gonna do.
Yeah,
that.
exactly. So urgent move, inadequate breathing, altered mental status, shock, hypothermia. So we need to. It's not a, if we need to stabilize them, CPR or whatever we can, but we need to get them out pretty quick. So position patient for safety and comfort, position of comfort, recovery position, and then so. Position comfort is where the patient wants to be, for them to be comfortable. A recovery position is on I believe it is on the left side. You can do left or right depending on which way you need them. And then the supine position where they're lying on their back. So that guy is kind of in a supine position. Patient restraint. So protect the patient and others, practice safety first, coordinate effort, move slowly and decisively, position patient face up. Law enforcement guys, don't handcuff them to our cot face down. Because they'll stop breathing and die, and then they're handcuffed to our cot dead.
Why you got the defibrillator?
So protect the patient and others is the reason you're going to restrain. Sometimes they may not agree with you, but it's for, sometimes it's for the patient's best interest. They're on acid, having a bad acid trip. You guys get that around here very often?
Not very often.
Every once in a while. You gotta restrain that patient. They're gonna hurt themselves or somebody else.
We handcuffed the guy to the top one time, and Eugene got mad at us, told us to uncuff him. I was like, okay. As soon as I did, pop, he hit Eugene right in the face.
Oh.
I was like, you want me uncuffed?
We carry soft restraints in ours, but I am not opposed to a law enforcement's handcuffs, especially on a violent.
We just actually loaded one 2 weeks ago, and there's a female, and they got her inside the back of the ambulance, and then she bit one of the EMS personnel. And then so they ended up handcuffing her to the cot, and the officer actually rode them back to the ambulance.
Yeah. If you guys handcuff, you're gonna ride with me. So I have to have you.
Yeah.
So that's cool with you. That's cool with me.
There you guys don't like handcuffs.
No, because they can't take you. But they have another weapon. They'll just sedate, and, put them down.
That's what they ended up doing. They did it right there on scene. We had a guy run from us.
Yeah.
Pop car. And we ended up getting shot once.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So they had to go air evac, and they didn't like to get handcuffed either.
All right. So we'll move on. So transition. So EMS arrives as you're performing CPR. You provide information to the EMS crew. You offer to continue helping. Guys, on Code Blue, I'll love your help because you guys can do some compressions, and I can start doing ALS stuff. If you can, some other information that you might want to have, be able to get. One thing I do now, sometimes if it's only one person there and they're really distraught, you can't have them do this. But sometimes whenever you're trying to work with your patient and you have that family member that just won't get out of your hair, sometimes it's good to give them a job. Hey, can you go write down their name, their date of birth, their allergies, their medications? Can you write all that stuff down for me? And all of a sudden you got this other person on scene that's writing all this stuff down for you, and you can actually evaluate your patient. And sometimes that helps out a lot. Doesn't always work. You have this old man, his wife's probably gonna be pretty upset. They're probably, good chance they've been married for a long time. You might not. And sometimes if I'm talking to them and they're concerned, but they're still composed, I will have them do that. It'll get their mind off what you're doing, pressing on his chest. So, but review,
Especially when they start hearing ribs crack.
yeah, oh, yeah. Define following terms, cover, what's cover? Well, we don't have our book, so we really don't know. Cover is something that's going to stop the threat, yeah. Concealment is just you're hiding, so it's behind a bush or something like that. I'm just going to go out on a limb here.
The distraction is something that you take their attention away.
Yeah.
Attention away from where you're at.
So you could then retreat, which is run away. Yeah. But I'm going to go out on a limb. You should never initially look for cover or concealment to evaluate a scene. If it's that type of scene, wait for the guys with the guns and the vests. Now, if it turns into a retreat situation, and that's all you can do is retreat to cover, then that's what you got to do. But
there's certain towns, even here in western Oklahoma, southwest Oklahoma, that fire departments and EMS, when they go in certain sections of town, or they hear that the scene is unsafe, law enforcement's not present, they automatically put a vest on.
yeah,
So, and there's actually 2 departments right here in southwestern Oklahoma that carry
best.
they carry vests and they carry sidearms. Yeah, they're fully certified.
Yeah, I think the cleat certification for EMS personnel is a good thing. Some services don't agree with that stance, but I think that we should be trained to protect ourselves. We find ourselves even out here. You guys have 150 square miles. You can still find yourself out in the middle of nowhere and find yourself in a really bad situation. I told my people, don't make me address it, but now the hospital's come out with a handbook that says no weapons on the premises. Well, how strict you're going to be, because I carry a knife in my pocket that's in plain sight, and you're.
It's not enough. Because as in law enforcement, fire, or EMS, it's a tool.
It's a tool. No, I agree.
Yeah, it is entitled as a tool, because everywhere, like banks and stuff like that say that you can't carry weapons inside, and it says knives and guns and yada, yada, yada. Well, as a fire or EMS, if you have a business in there and you are on duty, that's considered a tool, and they cannot ask you to take it out of your pocket, they cannot ask you to leave.
Yeah. I think people get bent out of shape over the guns, but, like you say, the bank has a thing on knife. How many guys are they telling to take their pocket knife out of their pocket? You know what I'm saying? None of them.
They might have a security guard standing at the front and back door of every bank in western Oklahoma saying, oh, as you're walking through a metal detector, you need to take that out of your pocket.
Yeah.
But yet the local law enforcement guys and county deputies also, they walk in there to go pay their bank note, their car payment, their house payment, their property, cow note, whatever.
Yeah, they carry everywhere though.
They're carrying their gun right in the bank. Well, the teller sees it, and if they're in plain clothes, it's one of those deals where, did I hit the emergency button because this guy's got a gun in here? Or,
Yeah, but do you guys have to also display your badge?
No. I carry a lot of times without my badge, please.
Gotcha. Anyway,
That's the deal around here, everybody knows it.
so all right. So moving on. So define the following terms, guys. A lot of this stuff will be in your book, like the HEPA mask, rigor mortis. Everybody know what rigor mortis is, right? Where the body stiffens up. I'm not an ME, and I don't have that knowledge. The law enforcement guys probably have a better idea. Rigor mortis happens between hours X and Y. Anything before it, the body's still pliable, and after it, the body returns to that pliable state. So I'm not going to try to judge time of death by rigor mortis. That's what somebody else is going to do. Anyway, emergency moves and urgent moves. I've had a hard time distinguishing these. If somebody, after reading the book, could come up with a good way to explain it, I'm all ears. They, by definition, by how they read, appear very similar to me. So, hey, ladies, same thing to you guys. Please, if you guys come up with a good way to tell to define the difference between emergency moves and urgent moves, please share it with us because it's kind of a murky area. So recovery position, we talked about just line up, get a patient on its side so that if they throw up, they don't aspirate, they keep the airway clear. Spine, just a patient laying on their back. So. All right, the best method to protect yourself from danger is to yeah, exactly. Be observant and avoid danger altogether. That's the best thing you could do. And I'm glad that they put that in there because, how they showed the slide before is the EMS was using concealment and cover to go evaluate a scene. Guys, if you think that I don't ever use concealment and cover on a medical call. I'm never going to go in without law enforcement to evaluate a scene using concealment and cover. And so now if I'm retreating, I will use it. So I'm glad that they kind of went there with that. The difference between concealment and cover is right? Concealment hides your body, cover protects it. So, concealment stops the bullet, cover doesn't. Exactly. The standard precautions are best defined as taking all possible. No. Now, you guys will want to confirm this, and Lady, I think you guys said you already did the test, so if you know the answer to this, I want to say that it's D, but I could be wrong, it could be C. I have not read the chapter. I need to. Do you guys have that answer? Yeah, they've done. I think they said they've done.
We're working on it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, once everybody gets their books and I have access to the slides, this will all be a little better.
I'm gonna find it yet.
It's the practice to prevent.
Yeah.
It would be.
It was B, Rob.
It was B.
B as in boy.
Really?
Standard precaution.
Oh, that makes sense. It kind of comes up. Thank you for the answer. I'll agree with that.
You're welcome, teacher.
Hey, I told you. I already told you guys. I'm a facilitator.
Oh, thank you, facilitator.
All right, last slide, and I'm good calling night if you guys are. We can talk, discuss, answer questions afterwards. List three things to consider before lifting a patient, or list three things to consider before lifting a patient. What are those three things?
Their size, my size.
Hey, Darren, what'd she say?
She said their size, her size.
And if you need additional help,
Position, location. Position, location.
position, location. Let's see if I can remember the five stages of death and dying. So you have denial, bargaining, acceptance, anger, and
Depression.
what's that, Darren?
Depression.
Oh yeah, depression. There's a lot of signs of stress, some of which I've never experienced, especially the number 6 of the first 5. Describe the steps of proper hand washing. Use warm water. Scrub. Use a brush if necessary. Use a barrier to shut the water off. Explain types of PPE and when they're indicated. This is something that's going to be located in your chapter. So, but we do have gowns in case of heavy bleeding, gloves, eyewear, respiratory. All right. You guys have anything you want to discuss over at Leedy?
Nope, we're good.
Okay, I have your Yeah, I have your guys' email. I'll get that emailed out in the morning. Guys, when you're reading your chapters and stuff, like I said, I'm a lot better of being able to talk about stuff, like answer questions, more of a one-on-one thing, or explain a why, than I am to sit here and read PowerPoint slides. So feel free to contact me if you have any questions, okay?
Okay.
Have a good night.
What do you want? Do you want? Everybody's done chapter 1, chapter 2. Do you like want to
What's that, Darren?
chapter 1, chapter 2 review questions? Or
Yes,
chapter,
please.
do you want like me to scan over them so you see, or do you trust us?
You know what? Do you mind being the person that kind of checks that and just let me know? Let me know that everybody's doing it.
That's kind of scary. Everybody just had a heart attack.
Darren, you are law enforcement. You should be the honest guy.
Tell them I'm the least. Oh.
Tell him I'll do it.
Yeah, we'll take care of it. We'll make sure you know.
All right.
All right.
Yeah, what I kind of plan on doing is I want to maybe set something up over here where I could come over and teach from there. Maybe a couple days or something like that. So I come over and hang out with you guys a little bit. What?
Okay.
Yeah, they can't cheat then.
Yeah, then they said, then you guys can't cheat. So, no, guys. So, anyway, have a good night.
All right, you too. Thanks, Rob.
Let's see how
Just by yourself, Ben. No cheating. Where's that in here? Let's see, I seen that deal in your system. Well, I figured if we're going to the fire department, like, our damn kids, we should talk.